This is the Levels Network. I am Justin Horo, joined by the triple OG, Willie Mason, and some rain from outside, OG. Just want to start the episode by letting everyone know who's watching this visually on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing too, by the way, if you subscribe, Mace. But there's been a leakage.
Explain.
There's been a leakage in the studios. We're in a building. It's 3 to 4 buildings, and I believe it's obviously coming from with all the rain we had in Sydney. Yeah. So if you see the drops throughout the episode, we've got a bucket in here. We're all sorted, and obviously we're not at the table. But do you feel comfortable, Mace? Let's give a shout out, because we're going to get into our BSC Dogs of the Week too. But normally we have the BSC soft protein bar sitting there as well. So Mace, bring it in. Can you bring it in a little bit? Lukey's saying bring it in for the cameras in front of you. There we go. By the way, have a look at this. They're empty. We've smashed them all. So when we get through our BSC Dogs of the Week, we'll bring that up. And I'm surprised this guy never got our actual BSC Dog of the Week, because he was outstanding in the month of April, Mace, and I am talking about Jahrome Hughes. He is the RLPA Players Voted Player of the Month, and I'll go through some of the stats, mate. So congratulations to Melbourne Storm halfback Jahrome Hughes has been voted by the NRL as his Player of the Month, obviously. His stats for the month of April include 4 games, 2 tries, 4 try assists, 4 line breaks, 12 tackle breaks, and an average of 101 running metres for a halfback, mate. Wow. In a sign of how crucial Jahrome has been for Melbourne, the Storm have only lost 1 game for this season so far, and that's when Jahrome did not play. Speak a little bit on Jarome's month of footy during April, mate, and how important he is to that Storm system.
He's a gun. I've always said he's a top 3 halfback in the game. Like you've got the Prince, Cleary, DCE's always been up there, and he's always like 3rd or 4th. He's always up there, isn't he? In the last 5 years, he's been up there. So his running game is probably the best out of every half. His defense is like, he doesn't miss that much. He's not a spot-up player. He kicks good. He chases good. He does everything that you want a halfback to do. And he's a makeshift halfback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the most impressive
part. Unbelievable what they did with Cronk at the start, and then what they've done with Jahrome Hughes is just, it's a credit to their coaching and culture, man.
Yeah, I'd say running game, definitely him and Mitch Moses, when Mitch Moses is fit and playing. And I think there's a great argument for in the last 4 to 5 years where he's been number 2. Yeah, it's just because Ches plays Origin and more often than not plays really well at Origin, that it highlights him. But his consistency for Melbourne, specifically when he is missing Munster, Harry Grant, in years past it's been Cam Smith, players like representative players are missed. He always steps up.
So you can tell he's held in high regard down there. He's very highly respected, the way he goes about his work, the way he approaches games. Like he's a gun, man. I always put him in my top 3 halves. Yeah, it's just whether or not I've always put him and Cleary 1 and 2. And then I think Jahrome Hughes had a few injuries, all that kind of stuff. And then, so DC's always been around about there in the last 10 to 12 years. I'm just putting him at a hole. So, he's a gun, man.
What a weapon. And that's why I was so surprising.
Him? He was in the Cowboys system and the Titans and all that kind of stuff. And you let a kid like that slide out. Like Nico Hines, you let him slide out. It's a fucking recruitment. If I was recruitment there, you should be sacked if you're letting a Nico Hines go on Jahrome Hughes. How can you not see the talent there?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
But there's a part of me that obviously there's always going to be those stories, right, where you're like, how did you let this guy go? But if you look at all the cases through Melbourne, man, at the end of the day, respectfully to Nico and Jahrome, and Money was sort of more of a high-touted player. Harry Grant was a little bit that way. Cooper Cronk, they just develop these players, mate. Yeah. And you just got to give credit more to the system rather than being too critical of guys that are...
Nico was in the Manly system, right? Yeah. And he was like playing... When we were there, 2015, he said, he was coming through playing fleet and stuff.
Nico and Tommy were their best players. I used to watch them.
And they go, no, we'll just let him go.
Yeah.
Like, imagine him and DCE there for the last 5 years. Oh, wow. Come on, man.
I remember... So in 2015, obviously Foz was there 15... we'll go on a bit of a tangent here, but I like it. 16. Was that when... Did Blake Green arrive? Yeah, or no, they had Jackson Hastings there for a year. Who was Jacko competing with? Maybe Blake Green arrived in 17? Because I think he was playing at Melbourne.
Yeah, I know. They had someone there, but they didn't have our start didn't have Munster there. You know what I mean? They didn't have someone who was just an absolute gun. That's what I'm saying. Right? Yeah. You had DC, you knew Fozzie was moving on. Yeah. And then you just go, well, here's a young kid. I'm just not sure about the recruitment over there sometimes.
And he was killing it too.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like he had no talent.
Were the reason. I think maybe Brad Parker might have been in that team as well.
They had a good little team coming up.
All right, mate. Just want to get to the recap from round 9. I forgot to update.
How'd you go?
Rough week. Week. Only 2 lines I got. So Panthers minus 11.5. That looked that made me nervous at the start of the game, but then that got home strong. And my only 2 try scorers were Tom Trbojevic and Munster. I also got the Bulldogs minus 7.5 just by half a point, mate. So
that's right.
Apart from that, all the rest was rank. I'll do an update for you guys on Thursday from where we're at. But as always, we want everyone to be playing safe during this footy season, just like me. $10 bets. That's why I don't go crazy with them. So please keep front of mind what you're really gambling with. If you need free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858. You ready to get in the show, mate?
Yeah, mate.
All right, these are the ones we love. The YouTube replies. Hey, Scope, I would generally, this is off the back of the merch idea we tossed up last week, Mace.
Yep.
Hey, Scope, I would generally purchase a Scope or Levels branded extendable telescope. I knew you'd like this.
Read that. I'm just reading it. I know
you're reading it at the same time.
What's happening here?
So for those that don't know, I'm the one that do all the notes. So I sometimes I can, as I'm reading shit out, I can see Mace reading it for the first time, and that's why I put this in there. I'd love the novelty of whipping it out of my pocket to get a zoom of the boys at the game, just like they did with the binoculars back in the day. I remember my pa doing this down at North Sydney Oval when I was a kid. I'd really ham it up too because I don't mind a bit of silly buggers. What does that mean?
What the fuck?
But I can honestly see a crowd full of people getting their scopes out when the ref blows a shit penalty and they need a closer inspection. Or maybe I want to see my boy Adokar dart in for his 5th up close and personal. Up the dogs, by the way. It's a gimmick, but it's a bit of fun and it connects with your brand. GK, there's no way we're making scopes, but I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was.
I love how he just put the Fox over for his 5th try.
5th try. He did get 3 against the Melbourne Storm, so it's not out of the realms of possibility that he's capable of getting 5.
Taking on the great Nigel Vungana against South in 2002.
Is that the record?
Yeah.
Nigel's got the record at 5?
Do you remember he did the sign? He goes 1, 2, and his fingers were stuck together.
Yeah, that's right. He had the strapping tape.
Yeah, I was with the OG last Friday. It's good to see him.
All right, mate. This one is from Surf Highway 4584. Here's a question for you: do teams plan which prop they kick it off to from the kickoff, and if so, what factors come into the decision? Also, in your playing days, were there any props that you would avoid kicking off towards? Cheers. That's from Surf Highway.
I think you do. Like before a game, you know who's on the left, who's on the right. And there's no real fear factor. You just want to kick it to like their leader usually. I mean, that's why they kick it to Hargraves. Sometimes it comes off second best. You got to kick it to guys like O'Mealy. He would have been awful to go against, but you had him or Roy or me. So pick your poison.
What about teams that you play against? Like
Adrian Morley was always hard because he had mad leg speed and he could zoom across. Webke was tough. Petro was hard. Like if they wind up, man, they got 20 meters behind them.
Can you ever remember specifically saying?
Kick it the other way.
Or going into
kick it the other way.
Kick it going into a play and going, do not kick to that guy. Like, it's not smart.
No, not really. Not at any level. Not in the packs that I was playing in. No one really cared. It would be like, just kick it. Whatever way you want to kick it, Shifty or Braith. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. It's usually favours the kick. Like, Braith, I'm going left. I'm like, okay, we'll stack the left side.
Yes.
It wouldn't matter. So usually they don't like kicking right because if you're a right footer, it's a good slice and they really, they're not that confident in kicking it that way. So it's usually always on the left.
Yeah.
I suppose, and we just always plant around the middle and just fucking tee off.
I remember there was a game when we were playing in the Cadlands. It would have been the year that you were there. Sam Cassiano and Frank Pritchard were playing for Hull SC. Do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Did you play in that game?
I think so. At Hull? In Hull? It was yuck.
No, it might have been.
We got pumped.
We got pumped.
Yeah.
So anyway, I
don't think I was there when Sam was there. It must have been the year after.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go this. I will say, back in the day, Paliacina.
Yeah.
That wrecking ball around about 3, 4, 5, he hit the scene. And I remember there was times there, I think we were playing against the Warriors, I think at the Cake Tin one time, we're like, stop kicking it to that fucker.
Yeah.
He was at his best then. That was probably the only time I was like, we all just sort of collectively said, go right, Shifty.
Yeah.
Because he's
doing the goosies off the
kickoff. That was prime time Paliacina, and I remember that was a brutal couple of years playing against him. Like you would kick it to the other way because you just didn't want that momentum. Because he would get momentum because blokes would try and get him, and no one could fuck with him back then. Like he's coming off kickoffs, he was going off dropouts, everything, mate. No one could stop him. It's like it was a business decision.
Yeah,
go the other way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just because he used to get their teams off to the biggest roles.
I seen there was a highlights package of him on Facebook, and I swear it went for like 8 minutes.
It's just 100 tackle breaks.
8 minutes of contact off the kickoff. We talk about
that was his jam. He's the best. He is. If I'm going to say who do you want to take off your kickoff in the history of the game, he's in my top 3.
Yeah.
That's how destructive he was for those 3 or 4 years. You remember
in the modern game? Who right now? Who's the one of the best?
Oh, I reckon like a lower sort of body, like a Spencer Lenu's always hard.
Spencer's hard.
I'd say Jared's
still up there.
Jared's still up there.
Yeah,
5 years ago, Jared was always up there.
Yeah.
He's another bloke, a person who can get the sets off to a massive start, like he did against St George. You know, it's like he's got that. And they all follow him because he's their leader. There's a few guys rolling around. Just trying to I think Leota's hard.
Yeah,
Leota small body shape, good footwork. Fish,
lower center of gravity.
Fish. Payne Haas is hard, man. When he's on that right side, Payne Haas, when he comes across the grain, it's fucking hard to put a shot on him, man.
Yeah, Payne would be more difficult because even though he can beat you by running straight over top of you, he can also beat you with speed. He can also beat you with footwork. So you can't really.
You don't try and you try and manage him.
Yes, great word.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that was saying back to the point when we're talking about tackle tech. There's some people that you can't hit.
Yeah,
you got to manage. Right? Like you, at Hargraves, you just don't try and smack Hargraves off the kickoff because you're gonna cop a whole elbows, shoulders. So you're like. Manage the ball, you hit the ball, you grab you know what I mean? Like you manage those.
But different to Payne, you know where Jared's coming.
Yeah.
It's just whether you've got the mentality or the mindset to put your body in front and set your feet, like you said last week about it. But you're right. With Payne, Jason Tomalolo, all these sorts of players that have got really good footwork, you've got to manage them.
Give him the 5 meters extra after the contact, right? If you're not a good defender, and just hang on.
Yep.
And then manage and get some help. That's what it is. Like sometimes you just can't hit guys like Tino, Payne, Haas, and that legally now because there's no shoulder charges, there's nothing like that. So you got to, if you can't get a decent hit, just manage. And a lot of those players are getting told that because you just got to come in really hard at the ball, right? And then just fucking do your best. With a leg drive on these guys, man.
It doesn't look good when you've got -10 post contact meters, but you fucking got him down. And what's the biggest tick? You're not knocked out.
You're sweet to play the game, mate.
You're sweet to continue the game. Good one, mate. And we almost forgot, mate. Let's get this back up again, eh? Let's get the honeycomb. Put it right in front of your face too, OG, so everyone can see it. I think that's out. There we go. The soft protein bar from Violet Crumble. Yeah, you can put it down now, mate. Cheers. I'll get it over here for me. I'm up next. But your BSC dog of the week.
Yes.
He's back, baby.
Oh, he's back, and I'm so happy for him, mate. I'm just going to mention his name, Angus Crichton. Obviously, the last 18 months has been a little bit off the rails and a bit out of form and a few little dramas in the off-season. I've been waiting for this day for him to come back to his best. 2 years ago, starting back row for New South Wales, starting back row for the Australian team. World Cup winner.
Yep.
Had a bit of a tumultuous preseason.
Yep.
Last year, bit of a write-off. He's back this year. 2 tries, 16 runs, 156 metres, 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist, 1 try assist, and 28 tackles. And he is back in my calculations for Origin.
Oh, I like it.
I know that left side. I was wondering who was going to play left side. We're going to go through Origin teams a bit later. I'm like, and then Cam Murray's out, and I'm like, he's your man. He just stepped straight into it.
Okay, so for those who missed the Thursday's episode review, we're going to do rolling Origin sides every week. But before you scream at us through watching us on YouTube and on Apple, or listening to us on Apple and Spotify, because you've subscribed, by the way, just remember these are rolling teams, so they can change. And I will let you know that Mace made 3 changes this morning from Thursday's team. So do not stress if we do not have your player in there. And we're going to explain 3 of them. I had Angus in my team already, even before, but he cemented it on Friday. He's been outstanding this year, Mace, in my opinion. It started all the way back for me in the Knights game. I thought he was really good in the Knights game.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's put together a really good month of footy, so a really good BSC dog of the week. Now, Mace, my BSC protein bar Violet Crumble dog of the week is a mystery player.
Yeah, who is this?
So I'm throwing some stats out at you, mate. All right, so my BSC dog of the week had 10 carries for 69 metres. 12.
Are you taking the piss?
12 post-contact meters, 1 line break, 29 tackles, 2 missed tackles, and 2 ineffective tackles. Who do you think my BSC dog of the week is?
It sounds like a hooker. Like Jeremy Marshall King. You know, someone who doesn't get the ball that much, didn't run that much, Harry Grant.
No, because he's not. Stats don't represent this player.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. Like, I can see Marshall King dominate games, and his stats aren't that good.
He's a back rower.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but this is the point of BSC Dog of the Week, right? Right.
I'm just trying to think.
You can have an impact on your team and on a performance, and you don't have to have the best stats in the world.
Elliot Whitehead.
Yeah, nice. Elliot Whitehead of the Canberra Raiders, mate. When I looked at those stats, I was so surprised because it felt like he was in everything.
You didn't put the try in there.
I left it out there. I left the try out. I left the try out because he was just, and I left the try assist out too, by the way. The
little flick to Weeks.
Andy, sorry, he scored 2 tries.
Yeah,
two tries and a try assist, but I left them out, which is obviously a great game. But we got to the 60-minute. I got the 60-minute mark of that game, and
what happened?
Every game I start formulating my 3-2-1, so I'll start chucking plays in that I feel like are in contention. And he was my man of the match at the 60-minute mark, even before they took the lead. He was outstanding. He was in everything.
Yep.
They got pumped by the Sharks the week before. He missed. And it just shows the importance. Even though there's a youth movement down there at Canberra at the moment, some good young players coming through that I've got a high opinion of, specifically Ethan Strange. When you get a veteran back, like I was going to say Angus Crichton, like Elliot Whitehead, just like Angus Crichton as well, for sure. It shows how important they are in the modern game, and he's the back end of his career. He's a bit banged up at times, but he's a crucial part. The skipper, he's a crucial part of that Canberra DNA.
What about this 40-0 from Cronulla? Get this into a mindset of a young kid, Strange, and all these weeks, and kids that have played hardly any football. 40-0 against Cronulla last week. Confidence at an all-time low. You go into Brookie Friday, yuck conditions, been pissing down rain, it's cold, it's miserable. Yeah, one of those games you're like, fuck, we're playing against Manly at Brookie, this sucks. 4 points, sorry. 20-0 down after 25 minutes. Where's your head at, right? And then just like the resilience and everything that they're building down there and the culture that's been built down there from Ricky Stewart. That's just reeks of Ricky Stewart's mindset and what he's driving into these young kids and senior players drive into the young kids. The resilience, never giving up and just keep playing in the next play, the next play, the next play. It's unbelievable. And they end up coming back and winning. Fuck.
I thought it was going to be
unbelievable. I thought it was going to be 50.
Yeah.
Any other team who hasn't got that much resilience in them would have got 44-10 or something like that. You would have been down.
Yeah. So the crucial part, obviously, they're going into just about to go into halftime. Smelly takes that fucking intercept, flicks it to behind his back, finds K Weeks, he scores, and the reason, mate, I'm telling you, you said it best, mate. A group of young players in that team. A few of them, I was looking across the board and watching some body language, were starting to wave the white flag.
Yeah.
Elliot wasn't. Joseph Tarpany wasn't.
That's why they followed.
And the leaders, and eventually they got a few calls, like Ricky said, because they got a few rough calls in that first half as well. Eventually got a few calls, and then they come over the top. So we'll get to breaking down that game properly.
It's a great game.
But my BC Dog of the Week, mystery player, Elliot Whitehead.
Nice.
Mate, we've got to address this. I got a YouTube comment as well, and this wasn't a part of it, but I think I've added to it because I'm just seeing so many inconsistencies right now, and this one is from Talon. G'day, lads. Talon here. Love the potty. Learn a load about the game since I started listening to you guys in round 8 last year. Question for both of you dogs. What's your thoughts on how many poor calls we've had in our games these first 8 rounds of footy? Obviously, it's shit, but how on earth, with such a sophisticated game, do we still have such poor calls? P.S. Removing the kickoff will kill the game. What bullshit. Totally agree with it, Taylor. We had a bit of a discussion on that last week, obviously. I think there will be some tweaks, so if you are... I don't want to lose the kickoff, so I thought it was important that if we are going to keep it in the game, there may have to be some tweaks. On the officiating, Mace, this is a few things that we've tossed up now, and we've got a big part of sort of what we do is call on it how we see it, right? And for me, a couple of performances on the weekend in particular were poor. They just happened to be the 2 women in the women referees, and this is respect round 2. So I'm gonna be careful with the way I word this as well, right? I thought Casey Badger and Belinda Sharp both lost the game. At moments of the game, looked a little bit flustered, and I don't necessarily think. So a lot of people have been critical of them because this is a new endeavour that we're moving towards in women in the game, right? Which I think is great. I don't care if a woman or a man referees a competition, but they have to be up to standards.
Yes.
Now, That wasn't NRL standard. But in saying that, I think Belinda Sharp's roughly around 10 games in her NRL career. I was not a polished NRL player by 10 games in my NRL career. Either was Casey Badger. But we have to be critical of them.
Well, we're critical on everyone. Like
when they're not up to standards. But again, now this is going back, and I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate with myself. The officiating across the board from even the men has not been great this year. And the inconsistencies in the bunker, and I keep drumming this in. We have tossed up a compromise, me and you, on this show before, Mace. Solidify the bunker. Stop putting referees in there in the bunker 1 week and then playing them or officiating on the game the next week.
Consistent.
You need a specific bunker to get consistency at that level to help the referees. Now, when you get inconsistency with bunker decisions, I feel like I'm watching the referees second guess themselves on the field, and this plays into it as well. Like, I'm watching these games closely now, and like there are some really bad calls. I'm coming at it from usual. I could care less who wins the games, really, Mace. At the end of the day, we still get to report on the game whether Bulldogs win or lose or Manly win or lose. Like, it doesn't bother me. And in a way, I think Manly have been on the other side. They've got some really good calls the last 3 or 4 weeks. But if they are going to help, the NRL needs to help the referees out. They need to get consistency in the bunker and the match review committee first to therefore take the pressure off the referees, because I feel like there is moments in games where I'm watching referees where they don't necessarily agree with the decision or the ruling that's come down from the bunker. Specifically, I don't know if you heard this in the Warriors game. Yesterday, Chris Butler was having a conversation with Sean Johnson as they're walking off the field that he agreed with the decision that...
do they have any pull, like just say with the DWZ try? Is that what you're trying to say? Like, do they have any like final decision? They're there watching everything. The ref doesn't have the final call?
They have to. No, not necessarily. When you send it up to the bunker...
Like, they just don't. You send it up to the bunker, then you leave it in their hands, right?
Yeah.
So you just that's you just not making a call on it.
And for sure, and we've said this before, where I think it would help out if there was communication between the on-field ref, and I've seen it.
Like that. Like in NFL, they do it. They talk to each other. What do you think about this, this, and this? And they come to a conclusion.
Yes.
I feel like once he goes up there, he's just left it in their hands.
Yes.
That's right.
So rather than sending it up, like they have a conversation to begin with, and I've noticed it in the Captain's Challenge, which is I like. So in the Captain's Challenge in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've heard the referees going, this is what they're challenging. This is what I saw. This is the way I ruled it. And therefore, they're able to look at a few
different angles
and what the referees see on there.
So why isn't like a decision like the Appy try and then the DWZ try?
Phil Sammy try.
Yeah. Like
Phil Sammy try to Appy Coruscant. These are my examples, right? So on Thursday night, Isaac Tungle gets done sin bin for a, what do they call that new hip drop tackle?
Drop,
right? Hip drop. He's got a grade 2. For me, Isaac Tungle, and I hate the interpretation of the hip drop tackle. I think it's inevitable. It's going to happen on tackles eventually, and I think players are playing for it now. Not in this occasion, obviously. Dry Gray, he's hurt his ankle. Whether that happened in the Isaac Tungle try or indeed when he actually was trying to defuse a tackle, a ball in his own goal line. But then the next day or 2 days later, Aiden Caesar does the definition of a hip drop, and he stays on the field.
Are you waiting to break someone's leg? Like, is that what they're waiting for? Like a tib-fib proper smash up with the leg? Because that's what's going to happen if you let these players slide. I said it ages ago, week 1 or 2, when like they had Plath and all those guys. They should have thrown the book at him. I swear to God, if you had sent one of those guys off and give him 6 weeks, there would be not a fucking hip drop, because you know what the repercussions are. Because there's no repercussion. You get sent for 10, you have a week or 2. It's not that they're meaning to do hip drops and injure people, but you need to come down with a fucking iron fist. When you're trying to eradicate something that's so disgusting in the game, get off 6 weeks. No one's going to hip drop again.
Well, my point with that, though, if you watch those 2 tackles, I would say you've seen
Caesar's
both tackles,
one.
right?
Yeah.
I would say Isaac Tungle is the lighter scale. I agree that it's with the rules and the interpretation of it, he deserves to get probably a game, especially now like Jai Gray's going to miss some footy, if it indeed did come from that.
Yeah.
But
I think it did.
My concern is Aiden Caesar's was so bad, and the consistency of the ruling of not putting him in the bin. again comes back to the pressure then that puts on Casey Badger, because everyone's watching that. Players are watching that, right?
Yeah.
The Bulldogs are watching the replays going, how is Aiden Caesar at minimum sent?
Do you know why?
Not sent for 10.
Because he got up and played the ball. He was fine. You know, if you're down on the ground
That's true.
and you are fucking in agony, they're like, oh my God, it must have hurt him.
Yeah.
It's the action. It's the, do you know what I
plays
mean?
a part for sure.
That's what it is. Like, he got up and played the ball, so you're sweet. If he had a laid on the ground with a broken leg, do you send him off for 10 then?
Yes.
There's
He
no
gets sent
interpretation for it.
Yeah.
It's a hip drop. Get off.
Yeah.
That's what fans lose their shit about. That's what coaches lose their shit about.
Consistency.
Be fucking consistent, refs. I don't care if you're male or female. Just be fucking good. You're supposed to be the best refs in the NRL. Ref like that. Fucking frustrating, man.
It is, mate. Yeah, and I think it comes back, again, I keep referring back to the bunker and decisions in the bunker. I don't know how. I did a show with Jimmy Smith yesterday on Crunch Time, right? And he had Graham Annesley on a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned to Graham
Annesley.
Annesley.
Must do his head in Graham Annesley.
Well, this is Graham Annesley's fault, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. But this is all on him.
Yeah. So he asked him, why don't you have a bunker official in there that's consistent across all the games? And he said, basically, I'm paraphrasing from the interview, that it's too hard for one person to do. Like, the concentration that it would take would be too hard. So I tossed
Train them up.
Train them up.
Train them up. Give decent money. The game's worth billions of dollars now.
Well, Jimmy brought up a great point. We've got doctors that perform life-saving surgery on people, and you don't think that they have to be in there for long hours and concentrate. Now, that's
cop out.
That's an extreme level of, when someone gets paid well to do something, they deserve that because of the pressure that they're under. But if you talk about the pressures externally around, potentially players losing their jobs, coaches losing their jobs, results going the right way, making finals, not making finals, pay someone accordingly and put them in the bunker consistently. Or even if they don't, the idea that we tossed up a couple of weeks ago, give one bunker official group Thursday and Saturday night time slots. So they've got 4 games. And then the other bunker officials, so you get the consistency from at least 2 people and not 8 week to week.
Well, make it worth a player's while. Ex-player, you want to come in, they pay him like 20 grand a year. Give him some decent coin.
Yeah, that's what
you know what I mean. Like, give him some decent coin. The game's fucking earning a lot of money. If you want the right decisions, get the right people in there. Like, these blokes that play the NRL think they can just play these ex-players and everything like fucking $5. Come in and just do a thing. Like, no, mate, time is money.
I'd be really interested to find out.
Pay me $200 grand, I'll solve the bunker problems.
Yeah, well,
it's
like anything, right? If you pay someone a certain amount of money, the more money you pay them, the more
you respect the job more.
The more detailed they're going to be. The more if you're paying a referee to referee on the weekend, potentially even be a touch judge as well, and then that's on Thursday, Friday night, then rock up on a wet, miserable fucking Sunday afternoon game at Cronulla. And
you're going to get exactly what you're giving him.
Yeah.
Fuck all. That's what it seems like.
I'm getting frustrated with
That's what it feels like, right? You're paying these guys, $500 for a night? Pay them more.
Yeah.
Not too much.
All right, speaking of paying them more, Panthers have shot a $1 million warning to the rest of the NRL.
Ooh.
David Fifita.
Yeah, I saw this. Damn.
Is a wanted man, with the Penrith Panthers reportedly set to meet the Titans forward in Sydney today, Mace, apparently. So I wrote in my comments yesterday afternoon a shining light, or sorry, what's the word for it? Like a positive that the Titans can look at, with all these close performances, is that David Fifita hasn't triggered that clause. Now it has been reported that he is indeed having a meeting with the Panthers. Fifita has a trigger clause in his contract for next year, but he needs to trigger it by
around 10 this week, isn't it?
Thursday at 8 p.m. If he doesn't, Fifita will be a free agent and he can sign with any team beyond 2025. So if he doesn't make a decision to trigger that and stay, then he is potentially.
What is he going to do?
He's potentially a Penrith Panther, Mace.
Is that a good move from Penrith?
It's a great move, in my opinion.
I know you lose Fisher Harris. I love it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can put Lindsay Smith or someone like that up with Leota, and you have that beast on that left edge.
Yep. You can move Scotty Sorensen in the middle as well.
Yeah, easily.
Or Liam Martin.
Yep.
I reckon Liam Martin could play front row.
Yeah, easy. Like, especially in that system, they just work hard for each other. But you probably have Liam Martin protecting Cleary for a little bit as well. Fuck, that's dangerous, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, for Penrith.
Yeah.
For Penrith,
you know why
not
I like
good
it
for the
Penrith
Titans
as well? Because Penrith have lost a shitload of players for a while now, and they wanted to retain Critter, but they just didn't have the money for it. They wanted to retain Jerome Luai, but they just couldn't pay him.
This is getting one back. We're going to take one of yours, Queensland's best.
We were both, I think we're both stoked for the Warriors when they got James Fisher, right? Because they lose Adam, they lose Reece Walsh. Now Penrith, who have consistently lost their best juniors over the last 3 years, if they were to get David
It says a lot about the Penrith culture because no one 20 years ago would be going from the Gold Coast to Penrith.
That's good.
You know what I mean? So this is what's happening now. There's a whole changing of the guard because it's about winning.
Yeah,
it's about getting coached by the best, playing with the best. Iron sharpens iron. He's like, this is not good for my rugby league career. I'm digressing, even though he's not digressing on the field.
He's been playing really well.
He's been playing really well.
Yep.
But he's like, you know, for Penrith to even look at him, he should be stoked as well.
Yes.
He should be going, fuck, they're looking at me like I'm the missing link.
Yep.
I can keep this reign going.
5 in a row.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'd be looking at that going, fuck yeah, I'm doing this. Do I want to live in Penrith? If he's living on the Gold Coast, who gives a fuck? Who cares? Come live out in Coogee, bro.
Yeah.
Just you'd be fair while to travelling and training.
I seen the dog of all
M8,
dogs,
bro.
Mitch Kenny. He's around the area. I think his partner lives around the area. So I seen him around.
Doesn't matter, man.
You can live out there and travel up the
M8. Just get on the M8.
M8.
Up Gardeners, M8. You'll be there in an hour and a half.
Benny Gardner's.
You're there in an hour and a half. Don't worry about it.
You can go with your assistant coach up Benny Gardner's Road.
Benny Gardner's Road. I think it's great for Penrith if they can get a player like David Fifita. They've lost some of the best players in the last 10 years, right? In the game, like the Kickouts, the Crichtons, Luai. They've lost those guys. Fisher Harris now. Like, God, they've lost some players. Spencer Leniu. So they get one back, that'll be big, man.
Oh, it'd be huge.
A Queenslander.
Mate, it's definitely caught me. It's from left field, right?
I love it.
But I loved it as soon as I heard it. I love it for David Fifita. I love it for the Panthers.
And Fifita can play front row as well. He can play front, back row, lock. He's just a footy player, man.
I don't see anyone beating them next year with David Fifita. Even
that pack doesn't move, man.
I got so much respect for James Fisher Harris and what he's done for Penrith Panthers, but giving David Fifita, a player of David Fifita's talent,
it's untapped too. He hasn't been coached properly, I reckon.
And the effort that he's putting in, he's been unreal for the Titans the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's leaving it all out there.
Yep.
You put him into that system with that talent, it's a recipe for just
if you are David Fifita, right? Yeah. So I think he's about 23 maybe, 23, 24?
I'll get that exactly.
So he's going to go, well, if I don't make the move now and I spend the next 4 years up here, on $1 million, on $1 million, winning nothing, coming 12th, 13th every year, still trying to find that, you know what I mean, the missing link, trying to get players up here, or do I just bite the bullet now, go to an unbelievable club
2 years
for 2-3 years, give yourself that window,
win a couple of comps,
and then just go back to Brisbane or go back to the Titans.
He could sign anywhere after winning a couple.
And
he'll
be 27, 28, and he's still got another 5 years left in him. So if he plays, I think he should. If he's smart, he would make this decision.
He's only just turned 24, 70 days.
He's in his prime.
Yeah.
These next 3 or 4 years are going to be the most damaging for Fifita you'll see. And that's saying something because that boy is fucking crazy.
I thought I thought James Fisher Harris was going to be the signing of 2025.
This is it. This trumps it.
Does he trump Fish?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'll give Fish the nod a little bit because he's golden boot and he's going back home.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
I think it's like, so you know what to expect from Fish. This is where it's a hard it's hard to compare them. Comparison. But the upside of David Fifita is just.
Can you imagine? Just say if the way that he plays now is just so destructive and he can just be on the edge, he can be in the middle. Imagine if he just started at prop, right? He had 10 on his back and he could just roam. He can attack wherever he wants. He knows Leota's going to be banging and Yo's going to be there. And he can be that third prong where he's just he can go wherever he wants. You know what I mean? Like you're going to have Yowie at lock. You're going to have Leota and you're going to have Lindsay Smith and you're going to have himself and Sorensen. Like it's Liam Martin. It's dangerous, man. If you play him as a roving sort of prop, not just fixed on an edge, because I don't like him on an edge because you can really game plan for him. I like him when he just runs wherever he wants.
He doesn't. Do you reckon he's
been doing that with the Titans lately?
He's one of my closest comparisons to you, where you sort of don't want to pigeonhole him, right? You can play a little bit of middle, play edge. And just like you moved around, like you didn't necessarily, I don't think he doesn't stay. He'll go
No. He goes anywhere now.
He'll go in for a scoop 5 meters out in the middle of the field and barge over people.
But do you remember like about 3 years ago when they had him on an edge? They sat him on the right edge. He had probably his worst year.
Yeah.
They just sat him on a right edge and he just did nothing because right edge is one of the worst
But
positions,
also,
right?
respectfully, we've talked about him as well. He's playing outside of Tanner Boyd.
Yeah.
So on the left, he's been playing with Fozzie and he's been getting him into the game so much more.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. And he just does what he wants anyway, which is great. I reckon you just take the shackles off him and just go play for the next 3 or 4 years.
It's scary, mate.
Yeah, the next 3 or 4 years is his prime. I don't want to be on one side of the field. I need him coming off both feet, just terrorizing him behind the ruck. He's doing stuff now that's just like, holy shit. Who did he throw off a couple of times in the week? Big Nas? Big Nas couldn't even wrangle him in when he was just. I mean, that's a hard task.
We'll go and see how many tackle breaks he got.
I think he did 10 in the first half. Serious, off 3 runs.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Anyway, great move, Penrith. You can pull it off, and I think they can.
All right, so you asked for it last week. We're going to get into our rolling origin squad. So for those who aren't aware what this is all about, we got asked last week to go through our team. So as of right now, me and Mace will go through our origin squads, 1 to 17, but just like Mace changed from Thursday to today, we will be changing at points, whether it be through injury, like what happened to Cam Murray, or indeed form and a few other variant things that could happen. Make this nice and easy, Mace, to kick off with. We've got a few names here, and there's going to be some that are probably going to catch people off guard, or they might think about different players in those positions. But I'm just going to ask you to explain a player in the back line, a player in the forward pack, and a player on the bench that specifically, you wanted to highlight why you picked them in the team. Okay. Now, for our Queensland teams, we've got the exact same starting 10. Both have Reece Walsh, both have Selwyn Cobbo and Xavier Coates on the wing. Both have Val Holmes and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow on the centres. Both have Cam Munster at 5'8". Both have Daly Cherry-Evans at halfback. Both have Lindsay Collins and Reuben Cotter in the front row, and both have Harry Grant at hooker. Mace, then our back row is a little bit different. Yeah. You've got David Fifita. I've got Felice Kafusi.
Yeah, right.
We both have Jeremiah Nanai, and I've got Paddy Carrigan. So, Mace, why specifically Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, even though he's injured at the moment?
He is injured, but hopefully he can get a couple of games back and get his speed back. So that's pending. If you'd have a Tuolangi sitting on standby for him as well. And
so would you move Cobbo in the centres for Tuolangi?
That's the other option. But like just his efforts last year, he's just like I was doubting him last year, like to rise to that level.
Yeah.
He just made me look like an idiot. He was outstanding defensively, like that X factor. Like he has got everything, scoring tries off kicks. You're pretty much unguardable. Like when they have strike down there, when they've like Cherry's doing these little tricks and Harry Grant and Ben Hunt, Munster, he's just flying, mate. He's at another level. He's at another level of speed. Yeah. If he's away, it's game over.
When you think about it, like
he's just got that X factor, man.
And in hindsight, when the game gets into a point where it's like everyone's fatigued, the last thing that you can't really coach is speed and being able to break a game over.
You can't. And he's defensively, he's a shutdown cornerback. Do you know what I mean? He just shut our right centre down. Like he's done it. He's done it all year. Like he did it the whole series. He can just do it every game. If he's in the front line, you're not getting around him. You're not stepping him. You're not monstering him.
His speed allows him to be patient.
Yep.
So he's able to sit
on your inside hip.
He doesn't have to wedge and make crazy plays. He doesn't have to worry about someone beating him on the outside because he knows he can pick him up.
Yeah, because he'll just sit on your inside and make you go overs, and then you just legs tackle. Yep. You know what I mean? He's so dangerous. And I'll
do mine, mate. I'll go one for one. And I've got the player I want to highlight in my back line for the Queensland is Xavier Coates. Yeah. He wasn't a part of my best team last year, but to start the season, he's been outstanding. Also under an injury cloud, as well as Murray Talangi, who would probably be my replacement if he wasn't able to make it in the next couple of weeks. But I think he's probably grown into his body now. He's becoming a man in the sense, like not that he wasn't a man, but when you think of some of the younger players that hit the scene so quickly, like Xavier Coates, like Selwyn Cobbo, like Joseph Suaalii, all these players.
Izzy Folau, all those blokes who hit it when they're 17, 18.
Once they get to 21, 22, they're fucking in their prime.
Yeah.
Like as in, it feels like they're in their prime because they've grown into their bodies. So Xavier Coates has been outstanding. For the forwards, mate, you wanted to discuss Paddy Carrigan specifically.
I think he just balances that team out, right? You got Lindsay Collins, you got Cottard, Fifita, Nanai, and then Carrigan's just that real calm sort of head, plays massive minutes, leads by example, right? He'll get guys like Lindsay Collins onto the ball. He'll move the ruck a lot more than what you expect in an Origin. Like he won't overplay his hand in Origin, but if he needs to move the ball, he's got the confidence and he's got the skills to do it.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So like, and he can play massive minutes. He hits. He's fucking good on that. I see him chat. You make a mistake near him, he'll let you know.
I'd say his mic'd up is second to yours of all time, just because of the detail that he has.
He's very good on his chat, and he's just one of those typical Queenslanders that go hard and everything, and he'll let you know when he's fucking winning. Yeah. And he's just he's their. I'm not sure. He's not their captain, obviously Cherries, but he's
next in line.
He's the next in line.
Yeah,
mate.
I think so.
He's the next in line. Yep. So he's a senior player in that team, even though he's probably 25.
Yep. We've only got one difference really in the forward pack, and mine is Felice Kafusi. So I'll just speak on. I'm speaking on Kafusi now. I don't think he played last year. I don't think.
No, he was suspended.
Oh, he was
because he cracked someone like just way too hard.
And then he also potentially didn't make it back in the team for some reason. Maybe he was a part of Billy's. You know how
he would have been one of the first pick, but he got suspended in that first game.
That's right.
So he couldn't get back because they had Tom Gilbert and all. Who did he smack?
He hit Hastings? In the back when Hastings was trying to...
Someone near died.
Yeah, he licked someone in the back.
Who did he get, Lukey?
Lukey's trying
to... Remember? He got about 10 in a row.
Graham? I feel like he licked someone in the back when they were cracking down on that pass.
Yeah. He was the king at it. Anyway, he was taking souls.
He's that sort of guy. Like for me, he had played his first game back on the weekend after missing some time with a hamstring. But big games.
Playing good enough?
Big games. He's one of those players that I insert into a team because I know that they're capable of big moments and big games.
He's either starting or he's not in the team, but
correct.
Yeah.
I'd have Jaden Sewer on the bench, like you do, Mace, which we'll get to now. For your bench, I've got a change that might throw people off a little bit. You've got Benny Hunt. I'm going to changing of the guard, mate. I'm going Tommy Dearden as my 14.
Yeah, I get why you're going that, but I just don't. I know what Queensland's like.
I agree.
Yeah, like he will be that next guy up, trust me. But Ben Hunt is like, until they lose this series, which they will, then Ben Hunt will be there. Unless there's an injury.
But
like, Tommy Dearden's that next dude up.
This is my
I know, but like like what they're like. So
all right, so we both agreed on Hopgood and Flegler.
Yeah, the jersey. He needs to get back for a game, but geez, is he back soon or what?
He could be a guy that we change out in a couple of weeks because not available. And on the bench, the difference is the back rows. You have Jaden Sewer, who's been in great form for the Dragons, and I've got David Fifita on my bench. I think he brings that X factor off the bench. Jaden Sewer, why Jaden Sewer, mate?
He brings a level of aggression that would be suited to Origin. He's like,
been there before.
Yeah, but and I think just being there once before, and he didn't get that many minutes and he didn't play that well. I think he's been chomping it to bits to get another chance.
Did he only play one game? Did he?
I'm not sure. He hasn't played. I don't think he's played that many games, but he's built for Origin. Now he's been playing some good football. He can get some quality time, and you can put him in the middle and on both edges. So I think he's just going to go. He's going to go at it.
I didn't know. Did you know that Jaden Sewer's name didn't have an E in it? I was just looking him up then, and then Sewer comes up. Sorry to throw you off there. Oh no, he's had 4 appearances, mate.
4, yeah.
So 2020. So
I'm just saying, but like that was he didn't play. Yeah, that sort of one. Yeah. So I don't know. Like he's been out of the rep season for 4 years, man. So he's chomping it to bits to get back.
Yep.
I know they did win, but like I just think he's played about 4 games. Yeah. He's just got that level of aggression that's just a bit scary off the bench.
Tommy Dearden, for me, like I said, like you mentioned, Mace, I don't think he will be in the team, but he would be my option. Benny Hunt has been outstanding. He's been outstanding for the Dragons this year. He's had so many big moments in Origin. But I'm just looking at specifically him and Ches, both 33, 34, 35, or around the 33 to 35 age mark. And I think there will be a changing of the guard eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm probably accelerating it a little bit too much because you're right, Queensland picked players that have been there and done that before, and it's kind of counterproductive to my argument with Felice Kafusi if I don't pick Ben Hunt. But Tommy Dearden has been outstanding this year. He's not the reason the Cowboys are where they're at the moment. So I like Tommy Dearden in the 14 jersey because he's got that dog in him. You could play him front.
You could put him in 9.
You could put Tommy Dearden in the front row and he would fucking go out there and represent that jersey. That's why I'd have him in there.
He's strong, man.
All right, New South Wales team. Completely different. So I'll go through your back line and then I'll go through and then I'll get your player. James Tedesco 1, Brian Toto and Tommy Turbo on the wing. Stephen Crichton and Bradman Best in the centres. Nicho Hynes at 6, Nathan Cleary at 7. Now there's so many. This is with the New South Wales, there's so many options that it's going to be so controversial regardless. Why Nicho?
I think so. Nicho Hynes, I think this year he's really gone out and just fixed his little. People were critiquing his defense. He was missing a few tackles here and there, and he's just gone back to the lab and he's worked on that. Attack wise, he's fit as hell. He can just go for 80 minutes and just attack. I just want to see him play a whole 80 minutes at Origin because he's going to get you at the back end of the halves. That's what I reckon. Like he did last night. Just coming straight back through the ruck with a few lazy players are there, and he's just defended really well. And he's and he's never situated to one side of the field. He attacks both. So if they could put him on the right side and say, stay here, he'll stay there. If they want him to go around, he'll do that.
When I announced we were going through breaking down my teams with Missile on Saturday morning, and I had someone texting on the text line straight away because you get immediate feedback when you're doing the radio stuff. Someone questioned or asked me the question, proposed me the question, can you see Nicho Hynes playing second fiddle because he's so ball dominant at Cronulla? I think he can.
Easily.
Coming from the Melbourne Storm system, but do you agree with that?
I think he can, easily, because you're going to be, just say if he's on the left side of the field, like the Prince will just be running around, Cleary. He'll be orchestrating everything. So he usually plays like that on the left side all the time for Cronulla when he's on those long on those long sweeps. He's around the back or he's passing the ball. Like he'd be great for that position, I reckon.
Yeah, you think he's versatile enough?
Him or Moses. Like I'm not sure where everyone's going. Moses comes straight into an Origin side.
He was really good in Game 3, so he was really good in Game 3. He also played really well with the Mike Tyson spinal. He got the broken back. But his 2 performances have been great. So I think that's where he is at front of mind. Game 3, both him and Cody Walker.
Was that a dead rubber butt?
It was.
Yeah, so
that's on the same.
In my head, it doesn't count. Like if you performed in that.
Yeah, if they had performed and won the series as a partnership,
100%. It's a wholly different mentality, man. Like there's a totally different mentality. Game 3 up in fucking Queensland this year, who are you picking? That's where we want to get to, a decider. Or no, pretty much we want to clear it in 2, but like hopefully we get to a decider up there. So, I think Nicho's the man for the job. It'd be different if there was like a dude who's played 10 or 20 Origins who's coming into the 6, but it's not.
Hey, well then that's when Jerome Luai comes into play.
Yeah, but like I don't think. Look, those guys not picking him in the 3rd game, that means he's done, regardless.
Even though it's Imagine charge and not Freddie. Do you think it's sort of from above?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And I think Nicho's playing at that level where he's like he deserves it, man. I'm not giving anyone like a leg up because they're playing great at club football. I just think he can belong at that level.
I agree, and this is a credit to Jerome as well on this specific decision. I think Jerome, just like yourself and then potentially the higher-ups in New South Wales, will not get the opportunity to play Origin again until he goes to Tigers next year. And I reckon he shows everyone
that he can do it all.
And being the Nicho Hynes that he is now at Cronulla, and then he comes back into contention.
That's what I reckon. Yeah.
My New South Wales team is Tommy Trbojevic at fullback, Brian Toto and Zach Lomax on the wing, Stephen Crichton and Latrell Mitchell in the centres, Nicho Hynes and Nathan Cleary at halfback. Now, there's so many that people are going to be screaming at me about. Latrell, we spoke about that last week. I'm going Tommy Turbo. I'm going to tell people why I like Tommy Turbo at fullback.
You better.
I want to come out of this series if I'm a Blues fan, if I'm a Blues player, if I'm Nathan Cleary. I want Nate's DNA on this game. So there's 2 huge outs that I've left out. One is obviously James Tedesco, and the other one is, I'll let everyone know, I don't have Uppy Carousel in my best 17.
You don't
as it stands, right? Because I want Nathan to completely run this team and leave no grey area to as whether Nathan Cleary has left his print on New South Wales. And you know what I mean by that, Mace? He's been a part of winning series before. He's had that special game in WA a couple of years ago where he just absolutely dominated. But with how great he is and what he's done at club level and even winning a World Cup for Australia, For me, he doesn't have that Joey stamp of approval on Origin yet. So I want to see that from him. And I think Tommy Turbo doesn't require the amount of touches that Teddy does. And then obviously with not having Uppy in there as well, his deception in and around the ruck is very hard for defenders. But it also, in my opinion, even though they've played together at Penrith, limits Nate's ability to get on ball,
jinky, isn't it?
Get the ball as quickly as possible, run the team with your Penrith teammate Isaiah Yeo, which we'll get to soon. But that's why I went Tommy Turbo. I think Tommy doesn't require the ball as much as Teddy, and plus, if it does come down to that moment where they do strip numbers, and you've seen last year, I think in the Adelaide game where they couldn't quite make the last pass, I think Tommy can ice those plays better than what Teddy can.
Okay.
So that's right now. Teddy's obviously a strong candidate, and it took everything. And I've been saying this now for a couple of years. He's not fullback, but the form that Dylan Edwards is in at the moment, it was so hard not to pick him, mate. Honestly, it was. Front rows, we're exactly the same. We've both got Payne Haas and Tommy Trbojevic. Mm-hmm. You've got Oppie Coruscant. And then we've got the same back row.
Yep.
Angus Crichton, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo. So, Mace, why Jake Trbojevic?
I think Jakey's the glue to that whole pack. He's not going to give you massive numbers like Payne Haas, 220 metres a game or anything like that, but he's going to give you 40 plus of the best tackles. He's going to get about probably 15 to 20 touches, and they're all going to be fucking solid. You'll always find his front. And if they do have that 1-2 punch, Jakey's going to take the second hit up, and then Payne's on that third. And then Yowie on Yowie on the fourth, and just jamming it down their throat.
And it's going to be the shittest hit up.
And it's going to be the worst hit up, but he's so strong. You know how strong that little polar bear is. Yeah. And he's the glue to that side. He's played like a shitload of Origins now. He's had a lot of big moments, but I think he's that senior player in that team that can really glue that team together. He's that guy. They fucked around with him a couple of years ago and they didn't pick him.
Yep.
But now they know why they're picking. You pick Origin players.
Yeah.
What they want to do is pick players that are tough, gritty, and just won't stop, right? Love New South Wales, would die for New South Wales. Look how he is for New South Wales, Australia. Any team he plays in, the amount of passion that he plays with, I think he's going to really bring it this year.
Well, you mentioned last week when we were talking about Origin selections that Madge wants players that love the jersey. There's no player that I've ever played with or have watched that doesn't love playing the game of rugby league more than Jakey Trbojevic. Yeah. So he gives you absolutely everything for any jersey that he
epitomises what New South Wales should be.
Yep. My guy to highlight is so I've got Payne Haas, Jake Trbojevic, Angus Crichton, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yeo. And I've got Reece Robson of the North Queensland Cowboys. The reason I like Robson is I thought he was really good in his performances last year. And sometimes I think coaches or teams or even fans get caught in it's a copycat league. So you start trying to replicate the X factor that Queensland have over you on the other side. So I'm going opposite, mate. You wait till you see my bench. People are going to be potentially pissed off with my bench, but I'm going a different game plan. I want clear, nice early ball to Nathan to control the team. Yeah. And I just want to play physical through the middle. I just want guys I want flexibility in my forward pack and bench now with all the HIAs that happen in games, specifically in Origin games of the years past. I want versatility on my forward pack and my bench, guys that can play multiple positions. Reece Robson can play lock. I think even at a pinch, if you really needed him for 5 or 10 minutes, if there were injuries, to play front row. That's just the nature of the game these days, where it's like the bigger bodies. Yeah, if you get the perfect mould of Payne Haas, then he's your prime front rower. But I like players with versatility. So Reece Robson is my hooker. Mate, you have him on the bench in 14, obviously, with Uppy starting, with Junior Bolo, Stefano Utoikamanu, and Cam McInnes, mate. Why Cam McInnes?
I think Cam McInnes, I think if he was a Queenslander, he'd already had 10 Origins.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he just goes hard and everything. And I think, he should be rewarded for that. And he wouldn't look out of place in a Blues jersey. He can play hooker. I'm not sure. This is very fluid, like with the Reece Robson pick and McInnes, I'm not sure if I'm too happy with two small bodies on there. I could replace Robson with a Olakau'atu. Okay. And just have Cam McInnes who can play 9, 13 and anywhere like that in the forward pack. So that'd be I think I was leaning towards that anyway. But at the moment now, I think Robson, I'll probably cross Robson out.
Okay.
Right now and put Olakau'atu because I want 3 big boys there.
Save it for next week.
Yeah, and then so McInnes, I just think he just goes hard.
Yeah.
Like I just want to see him out in that arena.
Yeah.
And it'd be a shame for us to have a player like that guy and just go, fuck, he didn't play Origin, that little nut. He's fucking, I want to see his head after an Origin.
Yeah.
He would just give his heart and soul, blood, sweat and tears into that jersey.
To be fair,
that's what you fucking want.
I think it would look the same as any game that he plays.
He looked the same as he played his first game.
Because he looks like he plays Origin every week with his
I think he's just, and it's not rewarding him. I just think he's been fucking outstanding for the last 3-4 years. And he knows his role in the game. He can play 9, he's proved. Now he can play 13, he's proved that. That's the most versatile position off the bench.
He seems like a Madge player.
Yeah, I think Madge would love him.
He just seems like a Madge player.
And you want to pick, if you want to pick those players, I think he'd be one of the first guys picked.
All right. I didn't think this was going to be the case when I picked my team, but the only player that we've got the same on the bench is Stefano Ikamanu.
Yeah. Bench is hard, man. Bench is hard.
We'll get to that in a bit because I think
a fair bit
I'm not completely sold on Steph as well, by the way. So I've got a heap of versatility on the bench. I've got Hamoli Olakawatu, who can play, obviously play on the edge if required, but I've got 2 80-minute back rows, so he might not even be required. So I can potentially move him in the front row. Like I said, I've got Mitch Kenny on the bench as well to cover Reece Robson. So quick, early service, physical and D. But the player I want to highlight is Matt Burton. Been there, done it, played centres. I think if you look at the 14 role and what's happened, and you've got to be rather than I think Queensland have been better at this than what New South Wales have been in the last couple of years, is being proactive, not reactive.
Who have they been picking on their bench that's been a game changer?
Ben Hunt. They've got Ben Hunt, and so Ben Hunt gives them a lot of flexibility. Ben Hunt can play half and 5'8". They can move Munster to centres, fullback. So they're lucky in a way that they've been versatile enough. But I want to be proactive, not reactive. So give me Matt Burton on the bench, but also you have a defined specific role for him. And again, Matt Burton's 6'1", 6'2".
He's big, bro.
He's like 95 kilos. If I needed to, I could move Isaiah Yeo up to the front row, and I could play Matt Burton at lock with a specific plan.
Easily. Anyway.
It's not like Nico Hines last year where you just go throw him on at centres or throw him on. Like, he covers everywhere in the back line, obviously, but then also gives me the option, all right, at a pinch, he can go on and play 13 for 5.
Burton's in my 20 at the moment, and he's trending there. I need to see a couple more. Just a couple more of those games, right? Where he's dominating games, where he's forcing himself into the top 17. And it's like not even a fucking question.
Yeah.
Because he's so versatile. So versatile because he can play anywhere in the back line. Anywhere.
Do you like him for the 14 or do you like him for
14. No, the 14. No, the 14.
14, yeah.
Because of the versatility.
Yeah.
Because he's more versatile than Hines.
You could play him in the forwards, couldn't you?
Easily play him left side back row, right side back row, lock.
Yep.
He can play, man.
Yeah.
And he's tough. So I wouldn't be, he's in the fucking
close.
here. Very close.
All right, mates, before we get into breaking down the games from round 9, just want to let everyone know that we are going to Magic Round with our partners, the Tab. So very grateful to our partners at the Tab. And we will be doing a number of things, but on the Saturday, we will be attending the Stock Exchange Hotel. It is a Tab breakfast tailgate party. So come and see us nice and early. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. we'll be there. You can meet us downstairs for a meet and greet.
10 a.m. start.
Nice early start.
Ooh.
Or it could be still going. But yeah, we're looking forward to it there. We'll be at the Stock Exchange Hotel. So if you want to get tickets, go on to Stock Exchange Hotel. Go on the Instagram page. Everything's there. Come and have a few early skinners with me, big fella.
We'll have some fun. Don't worry about that.
It's always a good weekend. Saturday, we're just getting into our work.
Let the hair down, mate.
I think a lot of our commitments are Friday and Saturday. Yeah. So we'll get through that and then we can have some fun.
Can't wait. Magic Round was good last year.
Magic Round is the best. Ooh. So let's get this. It is Magic Round at the moment. It is round 19, mate.
All right.
Oh, 19. It is round 9. So let's get to breaking down the games.
All right.
How about this for a stat? This is from Random Stats Guy. I seen this on NRL Rose. Ben Hornby lost his first NRL game to the Penrith Panthers, 42-12. He's also now lost his first game coaching NRL to the Panthers, 42-12. When he lost to the Panthers, Mark Geyer was on the bench, and this time his son Maverick Geyer was on the bench. That's crazy stat.
That is crazy, man.
That is a crazy stat. Wow. But anyway,
unlucky, Benny.
Unlucky,
little piss face.
Straight off the bat, I just want to address this. This is something that's been bugging me. Low light of the game. Yeah. 8,122 in attendance for that game. Now, obviously, the weather conditions Thursday night. But for me, like, they shouldn't be playing Thursday and Friday night games at a core stadium.
Ever. Maybe a Friday night if it's a blockbuster. It's still a tough watch.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, so, like, even in the you're right, a blockbuster. So, if it is indeed...
If it's South Roosters, it's got to be at Allianz, mate. Like, if they're, you know, like a couple of years ago, remember they were playing at Allianz, a new one.
Or even at CommBank for the Panthers, you know, like 25,000 there looks so much better than...
Visually, right?
You'd get 20,000 at CommBank, you'd get 8,000. No one wants to go to a course.
There's a lot of clubs whinging about, you know, a course stadium. This is not just recently. This is the last 20-something years. Like, I've been playing there since 99. That's been our home ground for the Bulldogs, right? And is it a home ground?
It's not.
It's South's home ground.
Well,
it was the Tigers' home ground. You know, everyone's had their little time there.
Yeah.
It's just never going to feel like a home ground because you never get to train there. You never get to train there. You're not there every day. Like, Belmore's the home ground. Do you know what I mean? Like, and South, they have Redfern. They train over there, so you just go there just for the game, and it's like it's a fucking bad little spectacle unless it's an Origin game or a finals game. That's it.
I gotta. So I think we have to move on from the Belmores. I think Belmore.
I know that, but I'm just like because they train there every day, right?
I know, but my point with it is we've got to move on from them to one or two games a year is fine.
Yeah, that's it.
But you go from one extreme to the other, where you go to facilities that aren't up to worldwide standard in those stadiums. You just got to find the middle ground, and then if you are to play at a core stadium, then Saturday afternoon, respectfully to the Dogs and Tigers, that doesn't bother me, right? You can play your core games that are core on those games because why? It's Saturday, 3 p.m. There's so many sports on. It's not going to be the blockbuster that everyone's going to tune in to watch anyway. But my thing is don't play when you have your casual, maybe your AFL fans or fans of different sports watching our game on a Thursday and Friday night, which is prime time, you cannot have 8,000 in a 100,000 capacity stadium. Now, the reason you played in 99...
terrible, yeah.
The reason you played in 99 was because they built it for an Olympic stadium.
Yeah, exactly. It was 110,000 there.
Now it does not make sense.
No, well, I mean, what do you do with it, right? It's a massive sponsor for every club. They bring in a lot of money in, revenue, all that kind of stuff, and it's never going to go away. I know the ins and outs of
course.
But it just sucks for fans. That's all it is. It's just money driven, and that's it. They don't care about bums on seats, mate. It's eyes on TVs, and we get that in spades. So if you get 8,000, you get 8,000.
Yeah,
that's
sucks
it.
To watch, though.
It does suck to watch. As a consumer, you're like, this is not good. It doesn't look good. It's good on TV when I'm sitting at home on Thursday night. If I'm sitting out there in the rain, if I'm in the borough, cheering poor little Cookie on for his 200th.
Well, that was going to be my point. Imagine you play your 200 of the best in front of 8,000 at a core. Would you be stoked?
You'd be looking at other highlights of your career. Just say, that's my 200th.
Well, let's speak on the highlights then. The underrated part of the Panthers' dominance for me is their style in wet weather footy. So what's wet footy
just
DNA?
Complete sets.
Drop people under, change your directions, mate. And they just do it better than anyone.
And they probably played the worst game they've played for ages, Penrith, and they still put 40-something on you. They would not be. They'd be sitting in video now. They'd be filthy.
Yeah,
that's the standards. That's the standards that they have, right? Yeah. But they end up putting 42 points on them.
Yep.
So like that just shows how much improvement they've got and how hard they can go. Like they just seem to play. They play down to South's level. Yeah, at the start for about 20-something minutes, 12-0. And they're like, fuck, come on, let's go.
Are you not putting that down to obviously the Souths were going to be with all the Jason Demetriou news?
I thought they were going to be up. Right?
They weathered the storm. Pardon the pun.
But I think that first try wasn't a try to the guy in Thompson.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer in just say we're going off a little tangent here. Like NFL, they use the ground as a leveler.
Yeah.
If you don't have a full grip by the time it hits the ground, or if you don't have both hands underneath it, it's a knock on. It's a fumble, right?
I think that was a blatant knock on, regardless.
Yeah, I know, but the grass saved it, right? So if there's no grass there, it's losing grip.
Yeah,
so use the grass as a level.
But this is going back to what we
This
said
is
about
stupid.
the bunker reviews.
Yeah.
Like last week, I disagreed with the Appy Carousel, but you can understand the thought process behind it. How then on Thursday night, this is going back, if you missed it, we were talking about this with the bunker reviews and the match officials.
Just dumb.
I watched that and I was like, oh, that's not going to be a try. And then it's a
try confirmed. Really quick too.
But you know why no one talks about it? Why no one cares? Because I was watching that game going, oh, whatever. South scored.
Yeah.
Penrith are going to flog them anyway.
Yeah.
Like that was honestly
that's the mentality.
That was honestly my initial thoughts watching it, which is wrong too, because when we talk about, obviously there's punting that comes into it, right? This is when fans start getting...
but like, do you think that's the attitude, the guys in the bunker as well?
No.
I'm just saying, it feels like it.
Yeah, it does feel
we
like
feel like doing that, like, just South, they're going to get pumped anyway, it's Penrith.
Yeah.
Give him a first. Like, that's what it feels like, the guy in the bunker. Obviously, no disrespect to you in the bunker. That's what it feels like you just did. Have a fucking good look at it. He didn't have control before it hit the ground. No try.
No.
Right?
It was no try.
It's no try. Like, I was just looking at that going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you just went off Appy Coruscant's one, there's your leveler, right? If you understand. Like, and then if you're a punter or something like that, and you're like, what? That is exactly what happened last week. He had no control on the ball before it hit the ground. Oh, well.
And I think, I imagine you're the same as me, mate. You're like, whatever, Penrith are going to flog them anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Feels like the bunker has that same attitude.
No, but I'm actually going to get you through. Oh, yeah, okay. Yep, this is my point. And I wrote this down as well during the game. Good fast start from South Sydney. But, with all the news over the weekend about who is going to be the succession plan, I think a few NRL pundits have called for this. They need to make this decision ASAP because...
On the coach?
Have you ever been part of a team that's had a coach sacked halfway through a season?
No.
Never?
No, never.
I had it at Steve Kearney. And I think very quickly they decided on Sticky. But as a player, it's quite difficult because there's so many things that you have to do.
Did the coach come in that year?
No. Brad took over as interim.
So I think Freddie he wasn't going to coach us in 2010.
Yep.
So by 2009, by the back end, he knew.
Okay.
So that was really weird.
Yeah, so from my point of view, and you can explain in your one after this then, there's so many things externally that you have to worry about as a player, and it's hard to keep your focus on. When you're in that position, your team's not going well. So obviously the team's not traveling, and then you add that pressure to it. But when you don't know who the coach is, whether the coach wants you next year and all those external pressures that come with that, then it just adds to it. So they've got to get this. If it is Wayne Bennett, they've got to get it done quickly. Braith, see Braith's post on Instagram. He thinks it's done. Do you think Wayne's done? Do you agree with me that they need to make the decision?
They need to get it done ASAP. I know that, and I think if Wayne makes a decision, it'll be coming out quick. He's not that sort of bloke to hide it. If he says he's interested in the job, he's interested, and it's come out of his mouth, right? Usually Wayne's very quiet on these things, keeps it straight on his chest the whole time, and then comes out when he wants to come out. But it looks like it's nearly done. All the rumors that I'm hearing, when it's pretty close like that, it's usually spot on from rumors and good mail and stuff like that. So yeah, the quicker they do and announce it, the quicker the members get on, the sponsorships get on, everything like that, the club can get back to some sort of normalcy. But until they keep fucking around like this, people start having to crack at you more, right? Losing like this in this fashion, everyone thinks that they've given up on the season, all this sort of shit. It's not good. There's
been some pushback from some fans. I notice it, whether it's just reading comments on socials or whatever it may be. Some are what's the word? Hesitant on Wayne Bennett because he never really leaves the team in a better position. Yeah, and it might be if you are thinking long term, for as great as Wayne Bennett has been, then he's getting older. He's probably not going to be there for the next 5 years. But the obvious plan would be Wayne as succession, and then Sammy takes over in a couple of years when he gets back from Warrington.
I think that sounds all perfect in everyone's mind, but have a look at the situation they put Sammy in. You think that guy's not over there going, fuck you? You know what I mean? If I know what Sammy's like,
and you do,
and I'm sort of cut from the same cloth, you do that, you wrong him like that. If you did that to me and you didn't believe me and I just told you what's happening and you fucking hang me out to dry, you think I'm coming back in 2 years? No.
There's a part of me that thinks so as well. Yeah.
There's a part of me that thinks he's going to probably stay over there a little bit longer. He's enjoying himself. He's out of the limelight in the NRL bubble down here. He's in England, in the north of England, living his life, raising his kids. Do you know what I mean? So there'd have to be a lot of different factors for him to come straight back to South in 2 years or 3 years after Wayne finishes. World changes. Everything changes, mate.
A little inside joke, but a wise man once told me they need us more than we need them. So I'll just leave it at that. We'll get to Trell. He's back next week.
Nice.
With the injury of Dean Hawkins, it forced them to move Jack Whiten into halves. Cody was obviously playing on ball 7. Do you like what you've seen in a very small sample size of Cody Walker and Whiten? Because it looks like Jai Gray's going to miss footy, obviously, with the ankle injury. Dean Hawkins is out.
Seems like that's the
Cody
only
at
option.
half, Jack Whiten 5'8".
Feels like that's the only option.
Trell at fullback.
Yeah, I think it'd be all right. Who's going to be left centre? Maybe
I would
Tass can come over.
say Jacob Gagai comes back into contention.
That seems like their only option. That seems like their strongest option. Cody gets the ball more. That game on the weekend was terrible from South. I think Latrell coming back, they just need to start winning. Start enjoying themselves again. You know, like when Souths are going good, Cody's laughing and Latrell's having a good time. Feels like they need a real important week of training here. I think this week will be, it'd be a real defining week for South.
Yeah, I agree.
Their leadership coming together. You got Latrell there, you got Cody, you got fucking Jack Whiten. Cam's going to be out for a little bit. Totola, you got all these senior players. They need to get in a room and just sort that shit out. Whatever's going on, they need to be all in because this year could be fucking ugly by the end of it if they don't find their groove.
Check out this.
Because they still have the talent to be, not win the comp, but like not be down where they are.
Well, that's. I'll ask you this question after this. Next 3 games are St. George Illawarra Dragons, Cowboys at home, and Parramatta at home.
Yeah.
Very winnable.
Very winnable, very losable at this time.
Well, considering they just come off Penrith and Melbourne Storm and the Sharks, they'd much prefer these next 3 games.
Very winnable games, but you know what? With South has been up there for the last 4 or 5 years. When you can smell blood, these teams like St. George that they've been putting 50 on some of in the last 3 or 4 years, they're going to try and get back at you. Parramatta's going to try and get back at you. You know what I mean? Like, so they're down on their knees at the moment, South.
But Parramatta are out of confidence as well.
Yeah, I know. But
Dragons are out of confidence. They're not consistent.
And they're going to be bad games for each other because they're all trying to find some sort of like, let's get back to that winning sort of feeling.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. If it is indeed dry up there, round 11, Magic Round, Suncorp Stadium. Rabbitohs, they're playing Magic Round on the Saturday night, the main game on Saturday night against the Cowboys.
Oof,
that'll be a fun watch.
That'd be a good game. Yeah.
Both those teams are underperforming. A lot of pressure in around them. Like Rabbitohs are playing probably the 3 teams that are not as equal on pressure as them, but close to it.
Sort of. It's just because
Dragons, Cowboys,
it's only because South has sacked their coach and playing really bad that they've taken the first place of pressure.
Yep.
Everyone else, like Parramatta's up there. St. George is like,
Cowboys are probably
Cowboys.
3.
Yeah, they've dropped 3 games in a row.
Yep. They're on board as they've got as talented teams as probably South and have been underperforming. So very similar. Dragons probably not as much. I think not many people expected much from the Dragons. So that's an interesting game.
They're fighting hard.
All right, mate, let's get to the first game on Friday. We talked about my dog of the week. He was outstanding for the Raiders. They defeat the Seagulls 26-24.
Wow, that was a weird game, wasn't it?
Manly have just been patchy for a few weeks, mate. That's what I wrote down. And Canberra have been gritty with less talent. It sort of sums up the form lines of both teams. I sort of wrote something different there, but that was my initial take on it. Manly have been scraping through against the Gold Coast Titans and the Parramatta Eels, and they weren't playing great footy. And in my opinion, they got lucky on a couple of really crucial calls.
Yeah.
Specifically, Micah Sevo getting sent for 10 against Manly. Raiders weathered the storm in the first half, and then they just couldn't get it together. Manly.
What do you think it is? What is it? Like, they just seem so dangerous, yet they just keep falling away and they're missing assignments on defense, man.
In my opinion, it's the confidence of Turbo and I think frustration of Turbo.
He's dropping a couple of easy balls too. Like, he's got high standards everywhere. He should never drop those balls ever.
Exactly.
And you can see that when he's going around the back. He's like, fuck, it should just happen.
So he is now strung 9 really good, as in 9 games together after having injury-riddled 3 years. And for me, it looks like he's getting frustrated when he's not
Executing at a high level.
Like 2021.
Yeah, like those when he's come off, I saw some plays when the 9 sort of hit him close to the line and he got tackled and he's shocked. Because remember in 21, there'd be 5 people and he'd just go, bang, try.
Yep.
And he's like, fuck. He's getting back there.
Yep.
Like coming out the back should be like he's just taking his the little fundamentals, right? Eyes off the ball a little bit, right? Because usually you catch it probably not even looking at the ball.
It's a confidence thing,
and he's going at speed, like he's back to his proper speed. Like he's gained a meter, and he keeps on getting quicker.
I still think he's just off a touch, but I agree that he's getting better.
Yeah, I don't know if you're ever going to get back to 21 turbo. If you do that, if you get half of that, and he's way better.
And then also the Luke Brooks. Because I think the frustrating part with Turbo as well is when you think of 2021, they had a way less. In my opinion, the team in 2021 was less talented than what they have currently, and the frustrations are coming from. It looks like he feels like he's got a better team around him, but it's just not happening.
He was a 5'8" then.
The 2021 would have been.
Was Foz there?
Foz.
Yeah, Foz.
Yeah, Foz, and he's been outstanding for the Titans too. The old boy just keeps doing it, but. We talked about Whitehead. I want to give a little shout out to KO Weeks.
Yeah.
He was a player that was coming through the grades at Manly and they couldn't quite figure out his position. Now, I still don't think he's at 7. But I know what it's like to be not wanted from a team and then go to another team and be on the scrap heap and go back and beat your old team. So I'm happy for him in that sense.
And he played good.
He did play good,
That kick that he put in for Kotrick, come on, bro.
It was a bit sort of a shank, sort of a good one, but it still come off.
I want to know what tackle that was and why Turbo was at marker. It had to be 2 or 3.
Yep.
Had to be because there's no way he'd be out of the position that much.
Yeah. So there's with the way that Turbo defends, as he doesn't like to defend as that soft A, he basically puts himself in the line. There'll be a lot of teams that'll be doing their video.
Yeah, but so I'm saying like you're going to be that's either really well coached.
Yeah.
Or that's just great eyes up footy.
Eyes up footy.
I don't know what it is. I think a bit of both.
It might be a combination of both. Manly, we touched on that.
Yeah.
Again, like I've been critical of them for a couple of weeks, Mason? Now, even when they've been winning, I've been critical of them. So, again, they're the opposite of Penrith from the night before. When they get to a lead like they do, they don't
foot on throat mentality.
They don't have it.
Yeah,
and they don't know what it's like. Because they haven't been in that situation now for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Whereas like with Penrith, they can be down 12-0 to South in a game that they should be winning and not be phased.
No.
So that's the difference between top teams and teams.
And if Manly do get there, which I think I hear Siebes talk about, we're starting to learn about our identity. We know what we're capable of. We just need to tweak a few things. And I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because they can put points on. 20-0 down in the NRL, you should be home.
Should be home.
Come on, with a team like that against the Raiders who are down, with the quality of players that you have at your home ground. So that says a lot about him as well. So you put those, what I just said then, you're like, fuck, you should have won.
Yeah.
No, you got beat, 26-24.
No, mate, I disagree with you. They shouldn't have not just won. They should have flogged Canberra. They should have flogged Canberra.
Should have been like a 46-10 game.
It should have been this. The Roosters defeated the Broncos 40-18 on the next game. Roosters send a statement with taking both games against the Broncos. So we've talked a lot about, and I copped there was a little clip that I got from Saturday where I was like, I'm still with Roosters. I got my hesitations because they can't beat Penrith in Melbourne. But you got to give them credit because Broncos are my team to beat. They can't win the competition without Adam Reynolds, he's crucial, but they have beaten the team that I think can win the competition now twice. Why do they match up well with the Broncos? What do you think?
The Roosters?
Yeah, that's 2 really convincing wins in my opinion now against the Broncos. Now, Magic Round, the scoreline wasn't as big, but it was convincing.
They played really shit to the Broncos. They overplayed. Even when Reynolds was on there until then, played some bad plays from Walsh and Ezra Mam, just forcing kicks and they're just fucking kick happy. They weren't happy with building pressure. I think and that's not Reynolds' fault because they're getting the ball out the back and then just trying to put a kick in. They happened about 3 or 4 times where they should just build pressure against good teams would do that. Build pressure, not try and strike like that so often and then the middles have got to do more work because you get the fuck off back to fullback or play on an edge and the middles have got to work their asses off. Look what happens to back ends of halves. Get fatigued, mate. And the back end of that, you know what I mean? So those repetitive, like not building pressure, it'll get you at the back ends of halves. You know what I mean?
Especially when you're losing plays as well.
Yeah, and then you don't know what's going to happen. Like in today's game, Jesse Arthur's flying out of the fucking line. I love you. I love what you're trying to do, but like that was crazy.
Yeah, be smarter.
Be a bit smarter than that. Like I love what he's trying to do, but that's like Dom Young is a big dude.
It's like we said at the start of the show about
you could have monstered just say a little winger, right? Someone else like who's not 6'6".
Well, when we're talking about the kickoffs, you got to be smarter with the guys that you go after. Dom Young ain't it.
No. Not for front rowers.
No.
You know, you don't see any middles trying to get Dom Young because he's got shoulders like this. Like he will smack you in the head.
That's their intent. But see,
I love the intent on the young kid, man. I love it, but I'm like, holy shit.
That's the problem with the Broncos. You love the intent of what they're trying to do. They're trying to execute at a high level. They're trying to play fast, but they've just got to, similar to a criticism around Manly, not to that level because they're way better than Manly, but they still got to find that sweet spot of like, you're going to require to beat Penrith, they're going to have to beat Penrith. They're not going to be able to get in the grind with them, but they've also got to be able to pick their moments.
Yeah.
And with the Roosters, going back to the Roosters, like, again, power game. This is, you know, there were a couple of moments where they just fucking strolled through the Broncos. Now, again, can you replicate that against Penrith and Storm? Yet to be seen, in my opinion. But a great step. A great step for the Roosters.
Penrith shows some like a few little moments there where you can get at their middles. You know what I mean? Like you can, when Lindsay Smith, when it's not Leota and Fish, Kenny and Yo, you can get at their middles. You know what I mean? Like where they were making some easy meters south, like 50, 60 meters sometimes when everyone was on point early in the game.
Yep.
They were rolling them through the middle. But then the thing about Penrith, they can just turn it on and go, you're not coming through the middle now. Do you know what I mean? That's what's scary. I'm like, their first sets, they made 60 meters on their first set.
Yeah, it didn't help.
South. And then they go, get your shit together after 12-0, and then they all averaging. Remember that one set? They got about 2 meters and one of the worst kicks. It was like shit like that. They can turn the screws like that when no one else can do that. That's what's scary about Penrith.
I've never seen that before, a team be kept in their 10.
That was bad.
That was like, that was bad, eh?
It was pretty bad. It's probably one of the worst set of sixes I've ever seen.
You know why it's so bad?
Ever seen.
Ever. You know why? Because it was so, you know that, I think generally, there have been occasions where like a team's amped up, right, gone 3 tackles in a row and actually driven them back into the goal line and they've had to do a drop out.
That.
They kept him within the 10.
Within the 10,
contact, down, wrestle, contact, down, wrestle. Like generally
4 times.
5 times.
And then a kick from Cookie's just like, what is happening? Jeez.
Back to the Roosters. Dom Young, freak. You can't coach what Dom Young does.
No. That flick pass back in as well.
He's an animal.
I mean that little one there to Joey.
I do. There's one. I've been watching him closely now too, and there's a lot of pressure on him last year because he'd signed with Rugby Union. Joseph Suaalii, I remember like him coming through and just with. Again, I sort of use Xavier Coates and a few of these other players as a prime example. Maybe they probably need just one more year, but he sort of hasn't lived up to the expectations that I expected from him, that I thought he was capable of,
Yeah.
A couple of just like really dumb errors from him. Like he is like when I look at him on those both edges, like Dom and him on the other side, they should be a point of difference. Like they can be so dangerous, those two guys, but he's still just got a little bit of like, maybe it's just being young. Maybe I'm being too critical.
He's
maybe
20 years old too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just when they get their shit together, right, the Roosters, their back five is ridiculous. Like what they did to Newcastle a couple of weeks ago when they just monstered them, right?
Yeah.
It's just everything needs to be in sync, but with those guys.
Yeah.
Brandon Smith went off and it fucked up their middles a little bit when he went off.
I thought Connor looked really good.
Now, Connor was great, but I'm just saying, like, because Brandon Smith plays flat and fast, Connor loves that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, who come on at 9 then?
Connor was playing lock.
So that's the same sort of thing. Like he could go flat, fast, but they can play off each other, Brandon Smith and Connor.
Yeah.
They see the week before when they demolished St. George.
Still no Radley.
It was, but it was just flat and fast. It was nothing, no block shapes and shit like that. Sam Walker plays into his own as well there. His kicking game, his passing game.
I watched it specifically after your point last week. Yeah. You're right, mate. Like without overcomplicating it. And again, I don't think maybe necessarily it's all to do with Victor Radley, but it's a big part. And the reason it is because you do have players that require the ball. Now, when you got Teddy, you got Kiri, you got Sam Walker. When you take away a star player, sometimes we've seen the Roosters play better when Teddy's not there with Joey Manu at the back. Now, I know he has heaps of touches, which is doesn't make sense, but it's not necessarily the control of the team. Like when players, it's the way they carry the ball and the way they get involved.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they defend like they do and play that power game again, they've got to be, they then come into contention because.
Terrell May was outstanding again.
Yep.
He keeps getting up. Their bench was good, man. Spencer Lenu's coming back now.
He's back next week.
You know, so that just adds another little bow to their dominant sort of forward pack.
Very dangerous team.
It's a dangerous team, man. If they get their shit together, which I think they're slowly doing, beating Brisbane in Brisbane, come on, man. Even though they were down on troops, and I think hopefully Reynolds comes back, and it's going to be a hard one to come back from, man, that bicep.
Yeah, he's hopeful of being back at the end of the year. I think I seen on NRL physio. So you've got to start thinking about a succession plan, right?
You've got to start thinking, what about, if he does come back, do you think 20 people aren't running at him in the first 4 sets?
Yeah, true.
Try and test that arm out. I know I am.
But he's had that his entire career.
I know that, but this is 34-year-old Adam Reynolds, right?
So he's played 6 games.
You can't hide now.
He's played 6 games this year and he's only finished 3 of them. So I don't think they can win the comp without Ren, but they've also got to start thinking he just extended for another year. I highly doubt we see the consistent footy from Ren. We say this all the time. Father Time's undefeated.
I'd love to see him just get through a whole year. That'd be so hard. I was thinking, the first, just say 20 minutes, how scary they look. Even though they didn't nail it, they still look petrifying.
Yeah.
Right? As a defense, you're like, fuck. You were glad they were off and they were making the wrong decisions, Ezra Mam and Walsh. Because sometimes they try and overplay it, but it still looks freaky, right? You're like, oh, God, really good defense from the Roosters. But go back to the week before against the Tigers, that looks unstoppable. But there's a difference in defense, right?
Correct.
Tigers and Roosters.
Roosters got a way better roster defensively.
Yeah, they work.
But I 100% agree with you that they're still the most dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous, man. Walsh needs to be on. Whenever Walsh is the heartbeat to that side, man. He was off a little bit, they're all off.
Do you know who the most dangerous team to the Broncos win in the comp is? It's not Penrith. It's the Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
Broncos are if they can figure out how not to beat themselves, then they can be a proper threat.
Because I feel like that they did. I reckon they could have really nailed the Roosters, but they just didn't. Just didn't play good.
Yeah. No, on this occasion, credit to the Roosters.
Yeah, Roosters played
even though the injuries. Mate, your Dogs. Jeez, it's good to be talking about the Dogs week in, week out. It must be, we obviously do this podcast. It's been a rough year or two, but there's some stuff that they're implementing that are going to take them into the future with the Tigers. And there's some nice moments and spots for the Tigers as well. But a lot of the chat over the weekend is in and around Little Reed Marnie, Lukey Stowe's favourite player, put it that way. Is Reedy the new Mick Ennis?
I don't know, because Mick Ennis played in that era where you could cop a punch in the head. And he did cop a few. And he threw a few. So it's different with this sort of playing style these days, right? Little chirpy halves, wingers, hookers. It's part of the game.
Even though we could punch Mick during our years, he still very rarely got hit.
No, he can fight all right as well. He'll throw back. He can throw back as well. But I think it's just totally different. You can't compare him to Mick Ennis because Mick Ennis would he'd throw down and he knew the repercussions. If he's going to get in a big guy's face, you could get a punch in the head. There aren't no repercussions now. So Reedy's just using the rules and bending them to his favour. He's getting blokes off.
Joey was critical of him on the Sunday footy show.
I saw Joey's take. I didn't mind that.
But also, I seen some really good points from a lot of people in the comments is that in this day and age now, it's almost becoming a tactic. And Reedy Reedy is identifying Jack Hetheringtons of the world, Alex Seafass of the world, David Clemmers of the world. If they can't keep themselves in check in this modern day, in this day and age, then
you're letting the team down.
Yeah.
And I think it is a tactic. Reedy, as long as he concentrates on playing good himself, which he has been playing well.
I thought he was great.
If he can piss their best player off and get him sent for 10 because he's undisciplined, fucking so be it. But I understand from like Joey's point, because I'm cut from his cloth as well. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not used to the cheeky little nines coming in and grabbing me because you're going to get a punch in the head. But you can do that now. So play to the rules.
Yeah, but I do think he's similar to Mick because Mick
he is. He's annoying.
Yeah, annoying. Yeah,
Mick Ennis was fucking annoying. Arks Nathan Highmarsh. Yeah. He just didn't annoy me.
Yeah.
He just didn't annoy me. He's a Toronto boy.
Yeah, there you go. Is he really a Toronto boy? Is he on the? Has he got a?
Yeah, he's probably got a statue already. No, but like, you know, I've known Mick for years. Yeah, but you ask any other player, I'm probably the only one who doesn't think Mick Ennis is annoying.
Oh, Mick,
because he didn't annoy me.
For us at Manly, before you had arrived, he was like, it's just like Desi had specifically told him and Grubb, Josh Reynolds, to get into Kieran Foran because it used to get Fozzie fired up.
Yeah,
because like you target certain players, right? Yeah. If you are a Grubb and you are going to attack Jack Hetherington and Alex Seaforth, it's not by like if that's in your DNA and that's the sort of player, you pick targets and you go after them. And it used to really frustrate Foz because I used to defend right next to Foz and Grubb used to get into him and Mick Ennis used to get into him. After kicks, you know, like kick,
just
kick
little
chase and little
things,
push,
mate.
Just little things.
But yeah, I think Joey's got every right to say that, but you know, it's just playing to the rules, man. You just can't get a punch in the head.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but you know, it is what it is.
A lot of criticism around Drew Hutchinson at the start of the year, mate, and I keep saying this, he is not your long-term answer, but he's just allowing Matty Burton and that left edge to do their best work, and he just does, you know, there's a couple of shitty things. I just love every now and again he gets in for like a play two carry or...
Yeah, he's going to slice through one time. He's going to slice through.
Yeah. He's had games where he scored two in a game.
He's going to be,
He creeps up on your Mutters Hutchinson.
He's such a good clubman. He does everything that club wants from him and what Ciro's asking. They're all just ripping in for each other. They look connected. They feel like looks like they're a team. They're playing for each other. They're little things that you want to see.
Yeah.
You just keep improving every game.
Also, we've got to give credit to Ciraldo. Obviously, you've spoke highly of him in the brief time that he's been at the Dogs. But last year, just because of how successful the Warriors were, and everyone was pumping the tyres up at Andrew Webster off the back of that because the Dogs weren't going well. There's all this criticism around did they get the right assistant coach from Penrith, sorry. And again, I still think Andrew Webster is a great coach. I love the way he's talking during this really tough period, but also I love the way that Ciraldo was talking about it last year when results weren't going their way. So I just think it's important to give him his flowers.
And I think people should know that Gus didn't tell him to come last year. He said to come this year because it would have been another year off. But he went, no, I'm going to come in here, set my principles down, set a culture so we can work towards something. That's ballsy, man.
Yeah.
That is ballsy. And he did, and he wore a lot of heat last year.
He did.
You know, so it's good that he's getting some recognition for what he's doing because I know that's his fingerprints all over that team.
And speaking of Gus's fingerprints, I was critical of the recruitment. I thought they had too many guys and just not really a guy at any certain position. But Kurt Mann and Josh Curran in particular, they have been outstanding for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, they have been. Curran's good, man.
Curran's good, eh?
Like, see that try he scored on the weekend? He's flying past like 3 Tigers. Put it down with his left hand.
He's nice, Curran.
Talent, man. He's good.
Curran was in the sights of Freddie Fittler for
a couple of years ago, wasn't it? No, I'm happy with those guys. Kurt, man, they so fit straight into the squad, straight into the culture. So, like, guys like that, you know, everyone was sort of having a crack at, like, the recruitment and, you know. And who's to say it's worked anyway? It's only been 9 to 10 rounds. Yeah. It's been going really good now. It could get better and better and better. It's only just sort of started to show its face now because they're winning some games. But, you know, they know the work that they've been doing the last 18 months is going to pay off.
I think on the flip side, the Tigers are looking at the Dogs. To me, the Tigers are the Dogs of last year. They're implementing some things. They're trying to change the culture.
Yep.
They're still figuring out their best team, and there will be more moving parts that are coming, but they just don't quite know how to get over the hill of we've lost a lot of football in the last couple of years, and we're still learning how to win games of footy. So
takes a while, man.
I like that. Reedy also targeted, I thought in particular, he was really targeting Galvin.
Yeah.
And every time I watch Galvin play, even in the game where he's not like silky, skillful, I just loved his toughness in this game. Like
he's tough.
You had, I think Sam Hughes was picking him out. Reedy was picking him out. Curran, they were putting some pressure on him. They were niggling him.
Yep.
And he just kept on coming. It's a great sign for a young half.
And just wait, give him a couple more preseasons, man. When he gets a bit stronger, he's going to be good. Because he's naturally like sort of wiry anyway, and quick and all that sort of stuff. Like not overly quick, but he's quick enough, right, to slide through those little gaps, little left arm offload. He's got some talent, man. I like him.
Yeah, so do I. What about Steph, mate? Started the year on fire. I thought he's been quiet the last couple of weeks. I almost changed him out of my origin side for a more experienced guy like Junior Polo or
that's
Regan Campbell Gillard.
That's what I'll be thinking of.
How do you see the last couple of weeks? You think, because it's hard to play front row in this day and age and be a premier prop, right? That's what separates.
It's hard to be like
that top five.
The top 5 props in the game, and then you got the guys that are just sort of battling, because it's a hard position, man. It's the hardest position on the field. And if you're not winning games, it starts defeating you, and they need to win a couple of games. But his growth's still going like that. They've just plateaued a bit, His numbers are still all right. He's not doing anything outstanding, but he's still not doing anything that wrong.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like people are game planning for you now. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you need to add another ribbon to your bow. Like at the start of the year, he was passing a lot more. He had block shape a lot more. That seems to be falling off, and you just go on one out. So I think he needs to get more support with him. Start playing football.
And also I think it coincides with Uppy Carousel didn't finish last game. He obviously didn't play in this game. He's obviously developed a really good combination with Uppy. And then when your captain and best player is not in the middle, it makes everything else harder for you, because Jake Simpkin doesn't defend like Uppy Carousel as well.
And his ball playing is different. It's a different touch. So, I think that's got something to say with it. It's got something to do with it. But he's still not playing that bad. He's just not playing like dominant like he was in the first 6-7 games.
Yep. All right, mate. Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Storm defeated the Titans 22-20. Munster's 200th, Christian Welsh 150. I thought Welsh played more than that, eh? Yeah. Farlongo had some beautiful moments, but it's hard not to start with Pappy, mate. A small fracture in his leg. NRL physio said it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. There was a chat of an extension a couple of weeks ago with Pappy. When you weigh everything up, and so throw this in, like, the diligence that he puts into his recovery and his rehab. He's obviously a club man. He's beloved by everyone at Melbourne Storm. But he's similar to Tommy Turbo probably a couple of years ago, where he ticks so many boxes, but at the end of the day, he can't stay healthy. So that is probably, for me, this is the hardest part of rugby league, or the recruitment and the retention of rugby league players in the game, is trying to find that sweet spot of like, Ryan Pappenhausen is a part of our best 17, but if he can't stay fit, then we've put in this massive portion of our salary cap away from him. And then you got young kids like Sua Falongo coming through.
What do I say? Your best ability is availability, and it's not. He hasn't been available. So, how much would you throw at him?
It's so tricky, mate. It's a really tough.
I think
question.
It'd be like 758.
See, I wouldn't
for him.
I couldn't.
I just look at that and go, yeah, he does his due diligence with his body and everything like that. He just can't help bad luck. That play that he did his leg on, he didn't have to make that play. He just wanted to. You want guys like that in your club, right?
That's what makes it tough.
Yeah, that's what makes it tough. I looked up and said, he didn't have to do that. Just stay out. Like, not stay out, but like, I don't know. There's plays like that I hate seeing players get injured on, because it's fucking made a massive effort to try and get him in goal.
It was similar to Tommy Turbo. Remember when he got injured against Parramatta? He was just trying to clean up a loose ball. Yeah. And then he ends up getting his shoulder and doing his, like, whatever was his pec or his shoulder or whatever.
He did his pec in Origin.
Yeah, but he also did one at Parramatta maybe the year before too, or when he got back, he ended up doing his shoulder. I think it might have been the year before.
Yeah, right. But yeah, with Pap, man, it just sucks seeing him injured, because he's been through so much the last 2 or 3 years, and he's part of the game, but not really. Not like that. I never went through anything like that. You never went through anything like that. Some of us just get absolutely hammered with injuries. Like Turbo's been through his hell a fair fucking bit, man. Like, you got to take its mental toll, man.
That Brayley brother up at the Knights,
he's
blown
couple
ACLs,
fucking,
must be super
young
tough
kid
for
Tom
him.
Gilbert. Like these young
got to be
kids
so
are going
mentally strong.
This builds resilience as much as fucked as that sounds. It does, and it's built that with Pappy now. I can see him hear him on podcasts, and he's very positive about life. But yeah, this has got to hurt. 6 to 8 weeks, you reckon? I reckon.
Yeah, 6
at least it's not months. Like 6 months plus, So I think he'll come back from this easily. But as you said, they're trying to extend. You got Sua Falongo, who just has ridiculous touches, and he looks like a obviously a player of the future. He's a gun. That's going to be hard for them. How old's Pappy?
I'd say Pappy's around 27.
Still young, man.
Yeah.
He's still another 5 years in him. If healthy. What do you think of the performance part with the Storm? Good shit Storm or decent Titans?
Decent Titans.
Yeah.
I think Pappy was killing them before he got injured. I think if Pappy doesn't get injured,
they go on with it.
Yeah. Credit to the Titans. They've got some dog in them. They've got some fight. Desi's trying to implement this new style of footy into them. They're
buying in.
Pappy's only 25.
Yeah.
He's got plenty of time.
There's a lot there. So hopefully he's going to get all those injury problems out early. I didn't mind the Titans, man. Fifita looked like he was just playing around with under 12 kids sometimes. That was fucking horrifying watching him run.
He's had put together a really good month. And they've only got one win to show for
so dominant. Like, you know what I mean? He looks like a man among boys. That's what it looked like. He's playing NRL against Melbourne. Come on, bro.
With the Titans, and they've got a lot of players that are playing their role. I think Phil Sammy is super underrated.
Joloff's good. I like the Joloff kid.
Nice. Yeah, got a lot of role players, but it feels like Kieran Foran, Brimson, and Fifita have just been playing 10s for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And outside of them, like everyone else has just got to play. They've got I love Brian Kelly. I love Phil Sammy. I love Beau Fermor, sorry.
Yeah.
Fermor, however you pronounce it. Apologies. But it just feels like those 3 players have been
9 out of 10s.
And they're not still losing.
That's what hurts. I was watching that game. I'm like, Melbourne just won't lose this game. But once they got 22-20 up or whatever it was, 2 points, I said they'll hold that lead for as long as it takes. And they did.
It's funny how their form line's quite weird. Like they finally put a team to the sword last week, like the Rabbitohs, but then they fall back into these close games that they're playing with teams.
But you never beat
There's
those
been
guys.
Reports around Tavita Pangai Jr. retiring boxing after this weekend, and that the Melbourne Storm are keen.
Jeez,
would it be a good fit? For the
massive.
Storm?
Yeah, I thought he was going to go back to the Broncos.
There was also that rumour.
Yeah, I think if it's his choice,
where would you prefer to see Tavita play at? Broncos.
The Broncos, yeah. I think he's got a real definite, a real soft spot for the Bronx. It's a team that he debuted with. He's really close with Payne Haas and some of the brothers up there. So I think going back to the Bronx, I think they'll get the best out of him.
Yep, I understand that as well. And that's why I asked the question, because I think that's the obvious answer for a lot of people. But I'd love to see him go out of his comfort zone and go down to Melbourne.
Yeah, he's probably out of his comfort zone at the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Bulldogs is different.
I'm just saying.
The squad that you were around at the Bulldogs compared to Melbourne Storm.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just leaving Brisbane, I think that's a big thing for him.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think he wanted to ever leave Brisbane.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
I don't think, leaving, not to come to a weaker team at the Bulldogs and not playing and us having no success down here. That's got nothing to do with it. It's just leaving Brisbane.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm thinking that is him getting out of his comfort zone.
Yep, gotcha.
And going all the way to Melbourne, it's fucking way out of his comfort zone.
Wouldn't you like to see Craig Bellamy get you?
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see him go to Melbourne and get the best footy out of him. Because his best footy, his ceiling is fucking massive. It's Australia and New South Wales. It's 10 tests, 10 origins. That's what he could easily get.
Yeah.
The talent that he has.
That's what he should have.
You need a coach to get the best out of him. I think Bellamy could get the best out of him. I just don't think that he'll travel down.
And I don't think Kevy can get the best out of him, in my opinion.
I think the Broncos can. I don't think he's going to get coached.
Okay, the playing group can.
Yes.
Okay.
I think he'll be held. Right. I think because him and Payne have they're like brothers, man.
Yeah.
And I just think guys like that, they just when they play together. So that whole little trio there,
Katoni,
that
was his game coming through, wasn't it?
Destroy teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine TPJ coming off the bench, fully fit and motivated.
Yeah.
That's scary, bro. And he's comfortable with them, right?
Yeah, because they went through the rough years. He was probably a little bit older than him. But all those young guys were coming through at that time. Paddy and
that's his crew, man.
Fifita was part of that team. Remember,
that's his crew. So I think he'd end up.
Imagine if they found a way to keep all of them during that period.
There's a goal. Yeah, it was a crazy era, crazy little time there when they were just going really bad, but they had so much talent.
Yeah.
Now they're all playing unreal.
Yeah. The Dolphins 28 defeat the Cowboys 26. Dolphins are quickly turning into my favourite team to watch, Mace. They had a genuine excuse for all the distractions throughout the week. Wayne Bennett, is he coaching
100%.
South Sydney or not? They were underwhelming against a Knights team, missing Kalen Ponga. But one thing when looking at a Dolphins game, we've got to be better at this now, is
we've got to.
They're not going to beat themselves, mate. And they're going to be in most games.
That Katoa and Nikorima's impressing me. That combination, man. He's playing his best football he has for age. Just quietly.
Ever.
Just quietly, but.
Ever.
Right? Yeah.
I've never seen this consistency from Nikorima. I've seen moments like this game on a one-off game.
Yep.
But what he's strung together in the last year and a half, at the back end of last season, probably into now.
But even with Katoa, the way that he's squaring up really late, that's so beautiful. People don't understand how good that is. You see most sevens, they're petrified to go near the line. He's digging right in. That's why they're getting the space on the wing. That's why what's his name? The 2. He's scoring all these tries. Sako, yeah.
He's playing
easy fucking tries too.
Yeah.
Just easy hands. They got that fan shape and they're just coming out nice and easy. He's fucking beautiful block shape, mate. He's holding that 4-man up just enough so they can just get on the outside.
He's got such good size.
No hammer as well. No Herbie.
No Flagler.
Come on, bro.
No Gilbert. Those are their 4 highest paid players.
Yeah. We don't need you.
Roy, sweet. We'll go beat the Cowboys. We'll go beat. We'll go get Para.
We're in the top 8. We'll leave you in the 8.
Look at the rosters of Cowboys and Parramatta.
Yeah.
And what this Dolphins team. Again, we had a chat. I chat with Bo Scott yesterday. We had a chat about you in 2013, Mace. And I asked him. I said, "What separates Wayne Bennett from the rest of the coaches that you had during your time?" Because he obviously had him at the Dragons and then went to Newcastle. No one overcomplicates their role. He tells you exactly what you're good at and you stick to it. And the prime example of that right now, you thought he was going to be my dog of the week, was Max Plath.
Yeah,
Players like that, mate.
He's just but he empowers these young players with confidence.
Mark Nichols.
Do you know what I mean? With confidence. Mark Nichols showed inside, showed outside, and made a clean line break. And he fucked it. He tried to pass it at the end. Just hold the ball, son, and just put that on your highlight reel. That is a perfect play. You only get that shit at training. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I was like, wow, Nichols actually did that.
I just want to go through some of the names, and I said this last week, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but Trey Fuller, he's
going good too, man.
A little bit silky in that, but guarantee he's not playing first grade for any other teams. He just looks undersized. He's more of a Queensland Cup player, playing outstanding.
Yeah,
he's had a few drops that he'd love to have back. Asako and Tessie New were on the outer at the Broncos, couldn't find a team.
Yeah,
Jake Everillo had moments for the Bulldogs, but the consistency that he's shown in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Jack Bostock, I know they've got Tupou coming next year. He's got to be a lock for that left wing position. Cody Nikorima, journeyman utility player. Jesse and Bromwich, we know what to expect from him. Felice, we know what to expect. Ewan Aiken, was he a centre? Was he a back rower? Yeah. Max Plath, Josh
Plath.
Kurt
sounds like a movie.
Ray Stone.
Sound another movie.
Mate, what Wayne...
he's a genius, man.
He's a genius.
Been doing it for years.
And I'm not sure what Katoa is eligible to play. I obviously played for the Tonga. He's born in New Zealand. Grew up in Western Sydney.
Come on, man. New South Wales.
Kiwis, baby. Because he's...
out of all
the young stars that are coming through at the moment, he made his debut last year officially. He's the best of all of them.
Yeah.
He is so good.
I rate him.
Where to for the Cowboys, mate?
I don't know. It's very frustrating because at the start that they got off to, man, they just look lights out. I was just like, this is going to be a good game. They're on now. They're on. They got that confidence from Penrith. Everything looks sweet. Nah, wheels fall off. Dolphins come back, score these easy tries. 3 tries to Katoa. They need to fix that edge up, man. It was pretty basic. It wasn't flamboyant moves. It wasn't like tries off kicks. It was like easy, shape at you.
Yeah,
you're just fucking it up.
The two captains.
I don't know. What it just doesn't look like it's just going south big time.
I asked that question because I don't have the answers for it anymore.
What happened? Maybe they're just not that good.
Maybe they're not. Maybe the 22 was a fluke year.
Yeah.
And
I'm just thinking
they're not as talented as we perceived from that year.
Drinky's still good. Robson's still good. You still got Felt, Val Holmes, Taumalolo, McLean, Neem, Nanai. Come on, man.
I'm with you. I don't know.
And then you know what? They'll start throwing it at the coach now. If they keep going like this, because of the playing group,
Yep.
and if they don't get wins, it's going to end up at the coach.
Yeah.
That's exactly where it will go.
I think it's similar to Brad with Parramatta, where there's a lot of belief in the coach, and they've got a good roster. For whatever reason, the messaging is not getting through for some reason, and they're not performing to the level. Because I agree, mate. I've been like baffled by the Cowboys now for a while. And Para. And like their two captains are playing outstanding, like Ruben Cotter and Tommy Dearden, but are they just too young for the captaincy? Are they the leaders that can articulate the right responses when they are on the back foot,
when they're under the pump?
line?
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I just like, and if not, then who? You know, Taumalolo's never been a verbally inspirational sort of person. Like, he just does it with his actions.
Yeah,
he just give you 250 of the best, dominate the whole ruck, and win the game for himself.
I can't imagine Scotty Drinkwater's sort of been like a flamboyant player. Generally, those guys aren't like your typical leaders.
I think Robson's their leader.
Do you think Robson's capable of it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The more he plays, the more, you know, he's been up there for 3 years now. He probably feels a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, he'd be around 100 games, I reckon, Reece Robson.
Has he been up there for 3? Is he? But he's played down at St George, hasn't he? For a couple of years.
He debuted for the Dragons. He played a few games, and he went up there. He might have even been up there longer.
Okay.
Maybe 4, but not too much more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it just feels like it's a players thing, right? I think they're getting the best coaching up there, and everything looks great. They probably have their best weeks and like their training sessions and all that sort of shit, and then they just get on the field and it's fucking not performing.
You're right. Those two teams strike me as teams that would train really well.
Yeah, and you think, fuck, if you went there for a week and you go, shit, this team's going to win the comp.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then they get on the field and it's like, what happened to this?
Being able to deal with adversity during a game, momentum swings,
resilience.
They don't handle it.
No.
All right, mate. The Knights, they go 2 from 2 without KP. Last year they fared okay without him as well, and they end up going on a run at the back end of the season. So could this be a learning to win without KP? Could it benefit the rest of this playing group, and have they figured out like they can't be so reliant on KP?
Well, I think so. Like, they'd have to go, well, and I think both ball players, Gamble especially, and Hastings, they're like, fuck, where's KP? I've got to give him the ball.
Yeah.
It's always like that. We need to set up plays, 2 or 3 plays for the long shift for KP. Now it's like, no, we're just playing football. Wherever the fuck is, wherever we seem, you know, where we want to attack, we go there. We're playing eyes up footy instead of like setting up for KP, which is a lot easier. So a lot of players, a lot of teams were game planning for that, because you weren't game planning for Gamble or Hastings.
Yeah, you're right. It's very hard to game plan.
Now you're like, holy shit, this little fullback just turns up wherever he wants. He's an effort player. Hastings will control everything, and Gamble will just be playing off his head as well. So I think they're probably a lot more dangerous.
You know who it's helped, and you're right, it's helped Gamble, because I said this at the start of the year and you agreed with it. He was under the most pressure because he has limited opportunities to ice what he has to do.
Yeah,
now he doesn't go into the game with anxiety about having to.
He's going to get 15 to 20 touches.
Yeah.
And, 1 or 2 of them might come off. Defend good. Get your kicks good. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of added pressure when KP's at the back, because his presence alone puts pressure on you. Because it's like, why are you wasting him? He's got so much talent. Why are you going right?
For sure.
Why are you going right all the time to Gamble? Why didn't you go left? It's like, it's a fucking team game. It's chess, not checkers sometimes, right? And usually they're just trying to score all the time with KP, and he's not going to do it most of the time.
Yep. And on the flip side to the Warriors, which we'll get to in a bit, I think that's their problem. But before we move off it, this is twice now the Knights have played well in these wet conditions. And I was watching the game going, I feel like the Knights have, specifically the Fifita brothers and Leo Thompson, have been underwhelming for me this year.
Yeah.
And I feel like the wet weather conditions play into their as it becomes a strength, because they're not mobile enough. So when the game becomes wet and it becomes a physical battle, that suits them.
They love it.
They love it. Do you think that? Do you think they're not potentially?
They're a tough team.
Enough?
Like Elliott's tough. Their back row, I mean, they obviously miss Frizzell, but like the 2 Fifita brothers and Leo Thompson, they're just bangers, man. They just want straight at your chest, don't care where it is on the field. Laterally, they're not moving the best, right? They're not your ball players like
if it's dry.
They're not going to ball play. They just want one off the 9. That's what they do. They don't get off the 7 or anything like that. So when it is a bit wetter, you just gradually get in off the 9.
Get a few drops.
And just bang it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think probably going to play him into some good form, I reckon.
Yeah. There's no Jacob in this game. Obviously, he missed it. You mentioned the back rowers. I think Dylan Lucas is really
Lucas
impressive
the 11.
in this game.
He's got talent, man.
He was really good in this game. KPP has been their best player all year for me, in my opinion. Do we see a world in which we move Frizz to the middle, or do you, when Frizz comes back in, you move him straight back to the right?
Straight on the right, yeah.
And then move Lucas back to the bench?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Lucas can play centre as well. He can play centre and back row.
Over Gagai or Brad?
Yeah, no. I mean, he's going to be off the bench.
Okay.
But he's going to be there. You know, he's going to be, and then you got to have a question mark like, was Phoenix Crossan still in that? You know, he's probably still coming off the 9, coming off 14, he's playing 13 as well.
Yep.
He's been good for him, man, defensively, and all these little things that he does, the kick chases, all the things that people don't care about, like looking at the game, but coaches care about and players care about. He does a lot of good shit, man. With
Brayley's injury history, you have to have him on the bench.
Yes.
The fact that he can play 7 and 6, well, he's actually played more 7 and 6, gives him versatility to play halves.
So he's your guy.
And you can play him a lock.
No, you can play him 9 lock. You can play him anywhere. So, like, just over Lucas, like, he's right side back row, left side back row, and potentially centre if you want to push him, like a Bo Scott sort
of
thing.
And then 2 front rows with him.
But, like, yeah, that's it. Unless you want to go with three middles.
Yep.
Which I doubt you do.
Not in this day and age,
Not in this day and age, because you want that. You want your Phoenix sort of player who can play anywhere, and then you want your sort of slashy sort of back rower that can play centre, that can play lock, you know what I mean, in the middle. So I think Dylan Lucas is that dude.
Yep, I agree. To the Wars.
What's happening there?
Too heavily right side dependent. So
it's very...
They lay the line to the left side all the time or to the middle to come back to the right. And look, it worked so well last year and they had so much success. But my criticism to that is you bring one of the favourite sons back to the competition, you put him left centre.
And it's the fucking best way to go.
And everything's going right.
Why is it going right?
They run that shape really well. But teams now... Well, they ran it so well last year and had so much success.
Yeah.
Remember Dallin was jumping across the sideline and scoring tries for fun last year. Now, he nearly scored a couple of more, but the shape isn't quite working as well. I think a really underrated part of a player who's missing, who used to run that really tight line on the right, is Murata near quarter.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But they've just got to throw some variation in there. They need to send some more shape to the left because Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is only doing
left.
He's only doing scoots and +1 carries at the moment. He's not getting any decent ball. You don't need to overcomplicate it and go too much, but at least get to a 60-40, 70-30 split.
Yeah, I agree. Because Rocco Berry's getting a lot of the ball. And it's not, he ain't got the talent. If you give Tuivasa that sort of ball, he's 2 times out of 10, he's going to do something. He's going to set something up.
I think Chance prefers that edge as well. I think because he
loves going that way.
That little tip on rather than that way, yeah.
Well, you think Chance likes left to right?
Chance likes left to right.
Well, that's why then. Yeah, that's why they're going right.
And then Sean Johnson's
why
obviously
wouldn't he want to go the other way? I don't know. He must be left-handed, I suppose.
Yeah, it must just feel more natural to him. I don't see him do it as much on the left.
I never see him do it. It's always there.
You know, with the plays that they had, and Luke Metcalf, you got to give him some credit as well. Like since he's been out, they've really dipped as well.
Yes.
So he had an X factor.
Tamari Martin needs to. I didn't know he was playing until about 30 minutes in. That's not good for a 5'8". Yeah. I was like, who's that? Is that Tamari Martin? He needs to really because hey, SJ is getting a bit older, man. Well, he can't take it all.
Yeah, it's because SJ's on the ball so much that you don't really get to see the left edge, which is, again, to my point.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Well, there it is, to your point. Yeah. Straight to your point. I'm like, I didn't even know that he played until they went left, like, after 30 minutes. And I want Tuivasa-Sheck to get the ball. Fuck's sake. Waste of talent, man. He's a king.
I feel like in the first game against Cronulla, they forced it too much. Now they're just not even giving him the ball at all.
How do you deal with that?
It's tough coaching in the NRL. I mean, it's easy for us to judge here. But
no, I'm saying like just even it out, mate.
Yeah, 60-40 is plenty.
Just get to like a left or right post so we know where you're going, right?
Rocco Berry, improved player. I love Rocco Berry, but you're
RTS,
right.
Man.
I need to see RTS.
But I'm like, even on the line when you go left.
And he runs a good line too, RTS.
Yes. Early ball. Like, let him do his work.
Yep. Maybe he just needs, Shawnee needs to play both sides a little bit better.
I agree.
That's the difference. Because I feel like whenever they start flowing towards the left, they just hit the front runner middle. Yeah. Later posts come back to the right.
Yeah. Very predictable.
If I'm watching the Warriors, I see that I'm doing that in video. I'm the fullback, I'm the coach. I'm sending the extra number to them.
And you know what? One word that shouldn't go with the Warriors attack is predictable. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, I know what you're doing now. Yeah. You're going to go fucking this way. It's like a little block runner it could be a block runner long ball to Berry.
Yeah.
Or early ball to
or Tohu Harris through the middle, out the back.
Yeah, it's not hard to defend.
And then if it all fails, you're going to kick to that right corner and try to keep him in the right corner.
And that's usually one word that you wouldn't say about
very true.
The Warriors attack.
All right, mate, the last game was – I love what Webby was saying post-game as well. They need to get out of this together. They've got ugly moments and ugly games. On to the Sharks. They defeat the Dragons 20-10. Again, Dragons turned up.
Yeah.
Flano had them up and ready for the game, but –
Cronulla are good.
Yeah,
Cronulla are good.
I just need to see him play better. I need to see him play the top teams. But fuck, man. Credit to Cronulla for winning, because we're critical on the Cowboys for not beating the Dolphins. We're critical on Manly for not beating a lesser talented Raiders team. So credit to the Sharks for winning this game ugly 20-10.
It's a yuck game.
Yuck game.
Sunday arvo, pissing down rain all weekend. And they got the job done. It's a hard game. They're hard and physical, man. St. George.
Check out this lineup coming up. Storm. We've probably gone over this. Cronulla play the Storm at Amy next week. The Roosters at Magic Round. And the Panthers just before Origin.
There we go.
Let's go.
That's what they need, eh? If they win two from 3, they're a genuine chance, you reckon?
Yep.
What if they get 3? If they 0-3, get blown out too?
Then they're the team that I expected.
I knew it.
Then they are.
You're going to be death riding them too.
No, I'm not.
No?
No, I've flipped on it. I look, we're the same, mate.
Yeah.
Even though we have predictions, it doesn't mean I don't need to be right.
No.
I like when teams prove me wrong.
Because I'm not sold on anyone still apart from Penrith and the Broncos in Melbourne. Everyone else can just sort of get your shit together and get to fucking Origin and then we'll talk.
Okay.
That's what I reckon. I'm just like, those 3, they're up there. I don't care if Reynolds is out. They're still fucking that team because you still got Payne Haas, right? And you still got these guns around you. Like Reynolds, they'll find a way to win those games.
As you know.
Ezra Mann's just going to step up more.
Ezra Mann looked
he's a bad boy, man.
As you know, there's a fair bit of luck that comes into it, and the luck comes back down to the health aspect.
Yeah.
You got to be healthy at the right time of the year, but Sharks are implementing some stuff that's really impressive. We talked about Adam Fanua-Blake being the best attacking prop in the game right now. I think it could be Tom Hazelton.
The hazelnut.
3 in a row.
The big hazelnut. I love it. His evolution of like being a genuine prop in the game is fucking great.
Yep.
Love it. He was just a big boy last year. Like could get some decent meters and like a bit of a cold hero. He's a good prop.
He's a great prop.
He's going out there doing the business. He's not shirking his runs. He's getting good minutes out, good effective tackler, fucking scoring tries. He's running lines, right? So when he's a big boy, right? When you're for a big guy, don't run ever sideways like that. And he was running a couple of real shit lines. When he comes back against the grain, when you're that big and strong,
no one wants
that smoke, mate. And he's really doing that. Like even on the right side of the field, he's getting outside in instead of inside out. Inside out, they'll clean your legs up, right? Outside in, people are coming up and going that way. You're fucking against the grain, and he's been doing that. So even his play, or when he's been off play threes and stuff like that, like he's bending the line all the time.
He is, mate.
He is, like not just his tries. He's been nearly unstoppable near the line, but those ones just in the middle of the field, I'm like, fuck, he knows what's going on now. He's changed his lines.
The most impressive part is he's a throwback. He's like an old school front rower, and he's still finding some joy. So that's why
I love it, mate. I love it.
When I looked at the Sharks at the start of the year, what I couldn't predict was the emergence and the development of Hazelton.
Yeah,
because he's been arguably one of the best props in the competition as well, under the radar.
Welly off the bench, give him a couple more games.
He's getting a few more games.
Powerhouse right there.
And then obviously Trindle before he had what he'd gone through. But fuck,
Oregon Kafusi's
Jesse Ramian again. He's a player, man. I struggled not to put him in. I really wanted to put him in my Origin team, eh?
He's hard. It's just going to suck because he's probably playing the best footy he's ever played.
If they don't pick, put it this way.
If there's injuries for Turbo or anything like that, or like Katoni and all these sort of blokes, mate, put him at right centre. He will kill it.
If they don't pick Latrell because of not playing a lot of footy and whatever it may be, then he's next in for me, Jesse Ramian. The Dragons, they're a weird.
They were off, man. Ben Hunt was off a little bit. Couple of bad kicks, couple of bad decisions. Just sort of fucking threw him off.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching the game too because I was thinking about it like by the end of the round, sometimes I get a bit of content fatigue. Like I start watching games and I'm sort of in and out of them, not as as detailed as we are when we're watching Thursday and Friday night games. But I remember Sunday footy time slot used to be, for me anyway,
it's the best.
I love Sunday arvos. Yeah. Now at Parramatta we had to play a lot of Friday night games because they were Bulldogs similar to Bulldogs. But at Manly we played heaps of Sunday games. Now the weather was shit out yesterday, but there was a couple of moments I watched a few of the Dragons players. Probably apart from Zach Lomax, who looked like he was still going for the game. Like he looks like he's been, he makes a few mistakes, but like the energy that he goes after the games, you can't question that on him at all. Where a few other players, and even Hunty, looked at moments on Hunty where it's like, look like they weren't fully engaged in the game.
Yeah, does. That's what I mean. Like even like you see the body language, and there was a couple of like when they were pushing the pass on that fourth play, and then someone else pushed it too far, and then like they got a fucking absolute roasting from a couple of their senior players. I don't know. It just feels a little bit weird.
You know Jack Bird's going to have a crack. You know he's going to go after it. Jaden Sewell's playing really good this year. There's just something missing. There's a couple of players missing with the Dragons, and maybe it is the Ben Hunt situation, whether that gets resolved, whether he's going to stay.
You can't tell me that doesn't affect the club, man.
Well, it's been hanging over for a while.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's just shutting it up because he's been playing some good football, and he's a senior player and everything like that. But like if it starts going pear-shaped, you know, like just
resurfaces.
Players like you'd be sitting around going, he wanted to leave this club, so fuck him. You know what I mean? Like why aren't you putting in fucking max effort, which he usually does? But if he slips off one or two games, the fingers start pointing at him.
Well, when he does slip off, when he doesn't play, this is the hard part with Ben Hunt. When he doesn't play a 10 out of 10, then it becomes noticeable. Clearly, it's like Foz. It's like Foz and Brimo and David Fifita. If they have an 8 out of 10, the team just gets smoked.
Yeah.
They've got to play 9 or 10 out of 10s every time for the roster that they have.
Yes. And that's what happened yesterday. He didn't play a 9 out of 10 game.
No.
Like he probably played a 7.
And Cronulla didn't play all that great as well.
No.
It wasn't like to me, it was a very
fucking yuck game.
It was an awful game. Like it was a yuck game, but I've got to give credit to Cronulla for getting through and winning a game like that. But yeah, I get the feeling, and I was going to say it early on, that if there was, because everyone's starting to look like with the Luke Keary news, we look at what Penrith are doing with Fifita. There's no way the Roosters are sitting there going, we're just going to sit on our hands and be happy with Sandon Smith and Luke Keary and untested halves pairing long term.
No way.
Ben Hunt.
You think?
Ben Hunt to the Roosters. Does he not sound
I think they'll just give Sam Walker the keys.
Does he not sound like the typical Roosters signing though to you?
Not at that age.
Well, Cooper Cronk.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper's won. Cooper won. But he only played 2 or 3 years at, 32, 33, 34?
Was he a bit older than that? No. 17, close. 18 you're talking, eh?
Yep.
No, 18, 19. 18, 19. I don't know how old Cooper Cronk is. I think he's like 34, 35. Well, do you think they'll chase? Do you think they'll chase him, Ben Hunt, the Roosters?
I think there's a name that we're not. No one's discussing. That the Roosters, they're similar to, like, the reason the Roosters are great and the reason they get their guys is because we don't find out about it until like, oh shit, how did they get him? Like, you know,
as if they wouldn't be talking to Fifita as well. You think he's coming down to Sydney without talking to Uncle Nick? No chance. Come on, man.
Angus Crichton, Nat Butcher.
Angus, they're all coming off.
Yeah. Do you think this is off topic now, we're on a tangent, but they said they weren't going to re-sign Angus. I think he's
they did? The Roosters say that?
A couple of weeks ago, apparently,
Form changes everything.
Fuck yeah.
You'd be filthy on that if you're Angus as well. You're like, what?
Well, he's doing it on the field.
Yeah, now he's going to be fucking chasing this. Pay me.
Well, let's chase
himself in Origin.
Let's chase preview on Thursday, mate. Another good episode, good week of footy. See you on Thursday.
See you guys.